You're watching the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austin Show.
You know what wouldn't suck? If the Jags, or the NFL for that matter, would just move the draft up. Make it a little part of March Madness. How about early April? Right after the Final Four. Before the Masters.
You have to spread it out a little bit.
It's spread out a lot of it.
Yeah.
Holy cow, we're almost there.
Mm-hmm.
1 week to go.
What's going to have more viewership, the NFL draft or the Masters?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know the numbers for the draft.
It can't be that much, is it?
I mean, it's got to be pretty. I mean, anything the NFL puts on is usually pretty big. So,
Yeah.
like that night one, Thursday nights, they do it on ABC now too. So that kind of helps it.
So it says overall, the 2023 NFL draft was seen by an average audience of 6 million viewers.
Okay, well,
now that might be in like totality. You know, like they combine the 3 days.
Well, either way, even if it's 6, that's less than the final round of the Masters, which
yeah.
was getting some criticism this week for being 9 million. You know, I never fully understand. Like, listen, we were in the TV business and the ratings game and all that, and obviously there's the eyeballs on women's sports right now in WNBA, and Caitlin Clark is just remarkable, right? I mean,
Correct.
The bump there is crazy.
Yeah.
And so that's where this conversation came in. And I think they ended up doing like 2.5 million views on their WNBA night, which was a little surprising with the draft on a Monday night, just because there was no suspense. Like, you knew she was going to be the first pick.
Yeah.
But it's just pretty amazing how many people are on the Caitlin Clark train. So, but from the Masters point of view, I used to say this about NASCAR a lot. Like, NASCAR had its heyday in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
But NASCAR's like doing fine. I mean, NASCAR's making money. Nobody's talking about NASCAR going bankrupt, right? I mean, it's maybe not as it's definitely not as transcendent as it used to be for whatever reason. Whether that's a cycle thing and it comes back to be, I don't know, but it's doing fine. I mean, baseball's never going to be where it was in the 1950s and 60s. Mm-hmm. Things change. And by the way, this might be the heyday of the NFL for, I don't know how you top it over the next 10, 20 years. Is there something that comes along?
Going to the moon, Brent.
I don't think it's pickleball, but that ends up, trumping it, and maybe that's the case. So the Masters stuff doesn't bother. Listen, people are going to watch the Masters and talk about the Masters. It's always going to be a big ticket, and they're going to make money, and CBS is going to make money, and people are going to jump on it and watch it. And if you want to watch it, great. There's no surprise that the Masters had a little bit of a downswing. I mean, golf has been a divided world. We're tired of it, right? I mean, it's a little bit like a political landscape where we're tired of the noise. And just give us golf. Plus, the star power is iffy. Scotty Scheffler's a boring star. So these things make sense.
I mean, they do and they don't, though, because we've talked about, like, no one's in the past has really watched, college basketball when the women play.
Yeah.
I mean, let's call it honestly here. So when Caitlin Clark came around, and obviously some Angel Reese help as well, that kind of changed the game because now you had names and people tuned in. We'll see what the numbers look like for next year. I'm just surprised that the feat that Scotty Scheffler accomplished, I figured more people would tune in to watch greatness. Because once again, it's not like Caitlin Clark is like this showboating, crazy, polarizing player.
Yeah.
She has so much talent. So people want to, I think we celebrate Caitlin Clark because of the talent. We don't celebrate Caitlin Clark because of the personality or the sound bites or the celebrations. We watch Caitlin Clark because she's doing something that we haven't really seen before in her game. One could say Scotty Scheffler is doing things that maybe you haven't seen in a while, and it's surprising that more people don't tune in to see that kind of greatness.
Yeah, we had the superstar talk the other day, and I think a lot of those things that you just hit on are right. I've asked myself this a little bit about Caitlin Clark. I'm like, okay, why is this big? Like, she can shoot, she can play. We've seen people that can play in other sports, and your point about Scheffler is a good one. I mean, if you want somebody that's dominating a sport right now that can play, Nelly Korda on the LPGA Tour has won 4 events in a row, and she's playing in a major today. I mean, she's dominating too. And women's golf doesn't pull crazy numbers. But she's one of the bigger names in that sport, and that's not so. I agree with you. Like, what's the personality? Okay, well, basketball's a little bit more transcendent, no doubt about it. I think the Caitlin Clark stuff has a little bit more to do with fear of missing out, FOMO. Don't you think? Like, has a little bit of like the the Taylor Swift ripple.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay, what's the phenomenon? Like, I got to go check this out.
Yeah.
And I think because of maybe even her age at 22 years old or 23 years old, I mean, you're getting like a wide range of people tuned in. Like there are now kids that are seeing that, like, oh, I got to check this out. Caitlin Clark. Like, everybody's talking about Caitlin Clark. Like, I want her jersey, or she's about to do like an 8-figure deal, I think, with Nike. Correct. So they're going to be like, I want her shoes. Well, then mom and dad have to watch it. Like, who's Caitlin Clark, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I think it kind of fills that bucket where no kid's saying, I got to go watch Scottie Scheffler play, right?
Yeah. I mean, it could be, once again, it could just be different sports too. Like, I don't know if kids around the country, like, in totality, like, I get there's regions, but, like, not every kid's probably sitting, like, in the inner city watching Scottie Scheffler.
Yeah.
I think you can make an argument that, like, any girl, any kid, regardless of if you're in the middle of the burbs, in the middle of the country, or in the middle of the city, like, they could tune in to watch Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think, it might speak more to basketball in general, that it serves that wider range demographic. And more diversity and globally. Like, I don't know the global reach. I haven't heard anything like that about, is there a global reach for Caitlin Clark at all? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I assume so.
I mean, with this many people, you got to believe it, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
How about 8-figure deal for coming? If I'm doing the math for Caitlin Clark coming soon, if I'm doing the math right, that's at least $10 million, right?
Yeah, for sure. Nailed
From
it.
Nike.
Yeah. Did
Swoops and others have, or Taurasi, or any of the big names that we've seen? Because, one little myth right now about what's going on with Caitlin Clark, we've had big-time stars in women's basketball.
Correct.
That have got people's attention.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we've seen shoe deals and stuff like this, and probably not to this
Sabrina
degree.
has, I think, a shoe deal, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that makes sense. She's from Oregon, right? Phil Knight.
True.
I think Swoops did have
Gotta believe
a shoe deal.
Gotta believe it.
But like Candace Parker, Taurasi, I'm not sure. Like Sue Bird, I'm not sure of all of those. I think Sue Bird actually might have had something as well. Yeah.
So, and again, I think when we go back to this star power stuff, you got polarization that gets involved. I don't think there's any polarization about Scottie Scheffler. He's an easy guy to like. Mm-hmm. So we haven't picked anything apart that we don't like.
Sure.
Right? He's even got a unique swing, which is kind of cool, rather than all this cookie cutter stuff.
Okay.
Caitlin Clark, I still think, because she is just blown up, and naturally, I don't think it's anything to do with her. I just think it's the idea that she's blown up so much, there's some polarization to it, so you'll get the negative side. Okay. You got that reaction from Birds and Taurasi during, wait till she gets to the WNBA. Like, you even get that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, nobody's saying, well, wait till he gets to the PGA Championship and sees that golf course.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous.
You're just not getting that feel.
Yep.
But back to the draft, which is a week away, I think we'll... Listen, the NFL has done it right. The Thursday night thing has worked. The Friday night thing has worked with the 2 rounds, and then Saturday is what it is. I mean, Saturday you got to be a diehard. Obviously, we pay attention to it because the Jags had a lot of picks, too many at that time.
Always.
But I don't. I think the number's going to be way down on a Saturday,
of course,
for the draft.
Yeah.
But they've done it right. Now, there's one interesting thing about the NFL draft. The players have decided, and this is something we talked about annually. The players have basically said, yeah, I ain't going.
Yeah, to
I'm
Detroit.
not going to Detroit.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to do with the city. I think it's...
You don't think if it was in New York or Vegas, that'd be different?
I think those 2 cities, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of many other ones, but I might be wrong. Maybe it's L.A., maybe you might be right.
Yeah.
But I think this has been a trending thing. I think there's a couple of factors in. I think that green room camera, where people have been embarrassed by it, from Aaron Rodgers to Will Levis to whoever...
Sure.
Like, I think that's real deal. I think that's something that you have to, you have to protect your client from a marketing standpoint, agent standpoint, everything else. Like, do we want this? Is this good? Is this bad? And, well, I would say that's bad. Now, from your Versace deals to everything else, going that red carpet, putting your nice suit on is a really big thing.
Yeah.
But I just think we're seeing more and more. These guys get so much attention, so much love. Do they need it on a Thursday night, the draft? They'd rather hang out with their family. It's a safer place to be. And you don't have to get dressed up if you don't want to. So I think there's only like 13 guys going.
Yeah.
Is that going to derail the way they do the draft if the guys don't show?
I mean, obviously, no, I don't think it'll derail it, because now you're just going to have more media people at those people's houses. And you're going to see just the behind the scenes of like where they live and their family members and stuff. Like they're going to find a way to showcase these athletes one way or another, whether it's coming on stage and giving Roger Goodell a hug, whether it's going through their entire backstory and finding every single sad thing that's ever happened in their life, or whether it's that you're at home on the couch and you're hanging out, with your parents or your girlfriend or your wife or maybe you have kids. They'll get showcased. They'll find a way to showcase these athletes.
They will, but will you take it as a traveling road show if players don't show up to walk across the stage?
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're going to have all these anchors at different houses.
Okay, but the central location could have moved back to New York, I guess, instead of going to Detroit, Nashville, Jacksonville, everywhere else. I mean, do we get, because like Major League Baseball, I think I don't even know what they do, but guys don't. There's like a couple of guys there that they highlight, and then that's it. And that's a real tricky one. Nobody knows who's even in the top 20 or top 10 most of the time. But I just think they kind of made a living with this, and you get like 30 guys going. And by the way, from a coverage standpoint, I've been in a lot of drafts, a lot. The Jags drafted that top 10 quite a bit, and it's a fun time. And the Wednesday before is better than the Thursday because you meet the draft picks, and usually in that meeting is somebody the Jags would be taking in the top 10. Well, now that guy's usually not there. So, we're not going to Detroit because at 17, there's a really good chance that guy's not there anyway.
I mean, I think they're going to keep going to different cities regardless of what players show up or not, because to me, the NFL draft from a fan's perspective would be like going to like New Year's Eve in New York. Like, you're not going for the Ariana Grande performance. You're going because it's kind of a place to be if you're a fan of that kind of atmosphere. And I think with the NFL draft, it's kind of the same thing where, maybe you're going to see who your team takes in the first round and you'd like to see that guy on stage, but I think it's all the same in terms of you just want to be around other fans like you cheering on your team.
So, that's interesting. So I get what you're saying there. So it's just a big enough party where you don't need the actual guys that are going to be drafted. Almost like you actually, the Drags will have a draft party a week from today. We'll have a 1-hour show live from there, and we might have, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 people. I'm not sure how many show up. I was a little surprised they're doing it in the stadium this year, and I really don't even know exactly why. There might be a conflict with an event coming in like the next day or something. Or it might be. Oh, you know why? It might be because of AEW.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now that I just said it out loud, that they don't want to break some certain things down. That's probably why.
Got to be.
But in Daly's place, like, it feels like there's 50,000 people in there because every seat is filled. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get that. Even when Trevor got drafted, there was a lot of people there, but you didn't feel it because it's a 70,000 seat stadium. Mm-hmm. But people still show up is the point, for a good time, for a party, for kind of be part of the energy and hear from some of the former players, even though the current players that are getting drafted aren't there.
Correct.
So I think that's what you're saying. Basically, hey, they take this to Nashville, Detroit, Vegas. Yeah. I think they're going to take it someday to Jacksonville, that the party will still take place, and you don't need the players for it. But I do think it's pretty fun, pretty interesting that the players, less and less of them have gone.
Yeah,
and maybe that's the way they've. Some of that perception is for the one guy that doesn't get drafted, and there's a little bit of a fear factor there. Or we've suggested this in the past, that we get to a point where the NFL pays the people to be there. They make an appearance fee out of it.
Yeah, you might have to do that. I just think players would rather just be. They don't want the cameras, the glitz and the glamour. I think more players just kind of want to hang out with their families. And listen, I respect that. I remember Joe Thomas from years and years ago, wasn't even a camera by him. Got drafted in the first round by the Cleveland Browns, and didn't even Mel Kiper said his stuff, say he's on a fishing boat, and that's it. So that's to each their own. Every player is going to be different. I think now more of these modern college players. I mean, they are in the spotlight so much more now with social media and everything, where some of them I feel like just want to take a break and be at home with their families.
Yeah. We'll see what happens next week with the Jags player that they end up picking is going to be there. Again, odds-on favorite, the Jags will take corner. What's going on today? And I haven't even mentioned this, but I think everybody knows that if you're a Jags fan, the luncheon is today. Today they do an annual luncheon down at Jags headquarters, and Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson will talk. It's not... Listen, I don't like saying, hey, we're going to cover something. You're not going to get anything out of it. I wouldn't say that. I don't think you don't get anything out of it. But we obviously know they're not going to tip their hand, right?
Yeah.
But some insight. I think they've been insightful over the years and can kind of say a little bit about the draft. We'll come out of this thing later today and into tomorrow when we do our show at Best Bet St. Augustine, and we'll be like, well, they kind of hinted they don't love all the cornerbacks, or they could take receiver. We'll have we'll read into something tomorrow they're taking receiver in round 2. They think there's 100 of them. That's what will come out of today. I think last year the story that came out was pretty interesting from Trent Baalke. He said there's three players we really like. I think that's what came out of the draft luncheon, which I thought was pretty revealing. Now, it didn't tell us who. Obviously, Anton Harrison was one of them.
Yeah.
But I think that was kind of cool that back at 24, I think when they were picking initially, even though they dropped back even a couple more spots, that they were like, hey, we hope 3 guys are on the board still at that point, and we'll take any of them. So we'll have that coming up. That's around 2 o'clock today. Obviously, we'll have all the reaction tonight on Action Sports Jacks on CBS 47 and Fox 30. And then tomorrow, live from Best Bet St. Augustine, we'll have some of the reaction from what those guys said, if we can read anything into it. There's all these mock drafts. Dane Brugler does an interesting one. He goes, this dude's got to get a life, because he does 7-round mock draft.
that is so ridiculous. Like, I mean, you think he just uses AI? You think he actually goes through each pick? Honestly, he might just use AI, man.
Why don't we
auto draft?
Why don't we do AI auto draft?
Just auto draft it.
And we got the song out for our
we
Shock
do have
Your
the
Mock.
song. Yeah,
Maybe that's a good idea.
Couple bangers, couple misses.
Okay, so let me ask this. I think this is a real scenario for the Jags.
Okay,
that he does in round 1. And a lot of people want to see the Jags move up, right? But he has in round 1 the Jags trading back with the Bills.
Off to a bad start.
So the Bills trade up to get Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay, so the Jaguars said we're all set with wide receiver. So the Jags
basically are like, we don't value him at number 17, is where they would say on this board.
Yeah.
But the Bills are like, we need a wide receiver for our guy Josh Allen, which right away would be like, they're going to get a guy for their guy?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
we're not going to get a guy for our guy.
That's what you do, Brent. We've been over this. You get your quarterback guys. Gabe Davis, we see you. I mean, I get it. Christian Kirk, we see you. We get it. Zay Jones, we see you. Evan Ingram, we see you. But you get your guy. And I think if the Bills get Brian Thomas Jr., that's their new one.
Yeah, that would be their new one. So what do you get for that? Well, you get the 28th pick. You get a 133rd pick, which is probably a 4th rounder. You get a 144th pick, which is probably like a 4th rounder or 5th rounder, and a 2025 2nd rounder to the Jags for number 17. So they get a 2nd round pick in 2025.
Yeah,
which actually is pretty that's pretty healthy compensation for moving back to number 28.
Yeah, and the Bills might struggle next year. I mean, we'll see. It's so hard for me to focus on 2025 though when you still have pressing needs, and especially like those 4th round picks, whatever they are, 5th round picks. I mean, come on, Brent. How many more do we need?
Here's the write-up on Brugler. Thomas is an outstanding size speed athlete with better route running skills than he's given credit for, and he'd give Josh Allen a new wide receiver 1 on offense.
Oh, there you go.
So, okay, so what you got to do here is what do they take at 28 then? Right?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Really, I have 2 questions on this front. What do they pass up on? So they pass up on Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy's a guy that's interesting now because I really like Daniel Jeremiah from the NFL Network, and he thinks he's a sneaky top 10 pick. So, like, we had that Shock Your Mock yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I wonder who else would have him on the board there, right? Mm-hmm. I really respect what Jeremiah says. I'm not sure his track record I'm not saying he's always right, but it's interesting to hear a guy say that he's a sneaky top 10 pick. They would pass on Jared Verse. I don't like that. Like, I think Verse would be a great pick at 17, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you could arguably the best pass rusher in the entire draft. Like, that can make a difference right away.
By the way, they pass on another one wwho people think is pretty good with Latu, but he's got an injury history.
Yeah. All right.
Or maybe I think there were injury concerns about Latu.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a 1st round guy.
Yeah. But they would pass on him.
Okay.
Pass on a guy like Cooper DeJean at corner. They pass on Nate Wiggins. I don't think we're high on him. They would pass on. Oh, then they get Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama.
Okay, so the Jaguars get Kool-Aid. Okay.
So, like, again, I see I see some logic here. If you're not getting Arnold or one of the top corners that you like, I don't even know who the top corner is. Quinyon Mitchell is the guy that everybody's talking about, and Arnold is the guy that everybody's talking about. And they are the top 2 corners in the draft off Dane Brugler's board. If you're not getting those 2 guys, I see a trade back. If you're not going to go get wide receiver, if you're going to get corner, then a trade back makes some sense to me in this spot. And you end up with a guy like Kool-Aid McKinstry. When I saw that, I was like, okay, I kind of get it.
Yeah. No, I definitely get it, but to me, that's more like that's letting the draft fall to you, right? That's what you would say. I have no grounds to state this or no data to back it up, but I always feel like if you go get your guy or you trade up to get your guy from teams, I feel like they have more success as opposed to
that's interesting.
Letting a guy fall. Now, maybe I'm completely off base here, and maybe I'm wrong, and it would take a lot of research and knowledge to find this stuff out. PFF, you have some time in your hands. All you nerds over there. Just kidding. I wonder what that is, because I think of the Ravens always trying to get their guy, right? And I think the Ravens have had some successful drafts. I think of the Houston Texans recently of getting their guys and not letting the draft really fall to them, and they've had success. But once again, I have no things to back this up, but I just feel like the more aggressive stance here, the better option, I think, for the Jaguars going forward is to maybe getting your guy, trading up. And if you like it, I mean, maybe it'll come out today, Brent. If you're Trent Baalke, hey, we like 3 or 4 guys in this draft.
Yeah.
Right? One better be a wide receiver. That's all I'm going to say. And if that's the case and it's one of the big 3, then maybe you trade up to get your guy.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think we all want to see that happen. The question is, can it happen? Can you do it? Can you make it happen? But I don't know if the Jags got Kool-Aid McKinstry by trading back. I don't know if I hate it. The question I would still ask, though, is this guy beating out the 2 guys that you have?
No, I mean, he's that talented. Yeah. So, but then it's like, who's he beating out?
Which one?
I would assume that Darby takes the backseat, but how much are you paying him?
I think it's like $5 million a year.
$5 million or so. I mean,
it is a little bit stopgappy there. It's
yeah.
Not, again, I think there's.
Do you let go of Tyson Campbell then? I mean, there's some things that can happen.
Yeah, but I mean, is it a bad thing? I guess if you don't know, we don't know Tyson Campbell right now. Like we're kind of confused on Tyson Campbell from a football standpoint only. Not a hey, I think Tyson Campbell's good or we've seen good out of him. I like Tyson Campbell. I do. I want it to work out. I want him to be great. I want him to have to extend him. Like I hope that's what happens with Tyson Campbell because I think there's a lot of good play in there. I think he just had a lost year last season, but. Is it a bad thing if you're asking those 3 guys to compete for 2 spots and the best 2 guys win? Well, it's not a bad thing if they perform well.
Yeah.
Like that's at the end. You're creating competition and all those things. I don't think you necessarily have to get rid of Tyson Campbell. Now, you could eventually, if you figure out that Tyson Campbell were to get beat out, well, then there's a trade deadline. Somebody might value him. I would think he'd have some value. Not as much as you probably want, but I think he'd have some value. So, yeah, it's an interesting play. And maybe we'll talk a little bit more about Tyson Campbell. What do you do? Like, who is the odd man out? And I think that's a fascinating part of it. The more and more people continue to go corner. Now Vegas goes corner. We talked about it too. The reason to go corner here is not necessarily out of straight need for the Jags. It's more of what's going to fall to them. Are they going to get the wide receiver? Are they going to be willing to take a Brian Thomas? They're not, doesn't look like Ayuk's moving or anybody like that. It's all quiet on that front.
Do you think if Brian Thomas falls to them, they pull the trigger on that, or do they go a different direction?
Well, I think that's the thing.
To me, I mean, that's...
I would like them to see Brian. I'll take Brian Thomas. Like, it's not like, I don't think it's a consolation prize. I think he's still a good player. I think that's why a player like that gets picked at 17 while the other guys are going off the board at 4, 5, and 6, right?
Yeah.
But the receiver position is so crazy, man. Would you be shocked that he turns out to be one of the best receivers in the draft, even though he's the 4th one off the board? That's the way this stuff works. Like,
no,
that's
without
okay.
a doubt. Or would you be shocked that obviously a 2nd-round receiver that you can take is going to farly outproduce Brian Thomas Jr.?
Well, and that's the thing. Well. So here's the question you're asking. Because in Brugler's draft, he has Troy Franklin going at wide receiver in the 2nd round to the Jags at 48. Would you rather have Brian Thomas at 17? Really, forget about where you pick him. Would you rather have Brian Thomas or would you rather have Troy Franklin?
I mean...
Or really, you should couple this up with, let me pick a corner that goes like right around the same time.
Okay,
let me find one. A lot of the corners are off the board. But a couple of picks before that, Ennis Rackstraw guy from Missouri, right? Or Sandestrel from Michigan goes to the Texans in his draft. So would you rather have Sandestrel and Thomas or a guy like Kool-Aid McKinstry and Troy Franklin?
I mean,
that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, it's and to be fair, it's comparable. Both are burners. Both, I mean, once again, the 40-yard dash can't take into account for everything. I lean Brian Thomas Jr. Like,
I think there's upside on Thomas Jr.
Give me an LSU wide receiver right now.
I know. Well, that's a little it's a little bit of that, right?
Yeah.
It can't go wrong. It seems like in that, and also in the read up here, basically, hey, if the Buffalo Bills are willing to take him in that spot, and again, this is all hypothetical stuff, but if they're willing to take him in that spot and say you're our wide receiver 1,
yeah.
Like, honestly, you don't really need him at number 17 to be your wide receiver 1 right away in Jacksonville. In Buffalo, you kind of do.
Yeah, true.
Right?
True.
But you can be a piece of the puzzle in year 1 in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Which takes a little bit of a pressure off him. Whereas if you do go get, obviously, if you trade for an Ayuk or if you got a Dunze or one of those guys, well, they're the number 1. I mean, you're giving up a bunch of stuff for them. They got to produce. They got to go get 1,200 yards, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns in year 1. They got to have 80 catches. Mm-hmm. So much so that I think the domino effect move there is you're probably getting rid of Zay Jones. Now, if you go get Brian Thomas, are you getting rid of Zay Jones? I'm not sure. You might not need to. You got plenty of cap space.
True.
So anyway, I think that's kind of interesting. Let's go through let's just get to a third round real quick. Number 96, the Jags would take Mekhi Wingo out of LSU. He's a defensive tackle.
Yep.
So they're starting to fill needs. I like what Brugler's doing here. I mean, he's definitely needs, right? It's corner, it's wide receiver, it's defensive tackle depth, the younger player there. I'm all for that. So there's a whole 7-round mock draft. Maybe we'll get to some of the other ones. But obviously it becomes way more of a mystery as you go deeper into that draft. 1 week from the NFL draft, Shock Your Mock presented by Everbank coming up today. One final time, by the way, and then we'll take our 8 winners, put them into a quarterfinal bracket coming up Monday, semifinals Tuesday, championship Wednesday, voted by you. You got to help us out here, too, during the next week to figure out who wins Shock Your Mock 2024. Got some questions about Tyson Campbell. Also, have maybe the biggest surprise to me this offseason. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Okay.
That is coming up when we come back here on the Brent Austen Show. We're live on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. The best place to find us on the Action News Jacks app or actionnewsjacks.com. Make sure you click it, check it out. Join us from work, wherever you are. You can always check out the social media channels as well in your car or at home, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. And we got the podcast rocking and rolling as well. The Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Do you have ugly concrete around your home or business? Are you tired of concrete that is cracked, stained, or just plain ugly? Spartan Coatings' range of products provides a surface that is non-porous, easy to clean, antibacterial, and slip-resistant, all with superior durability.
Living in Florida nearly my whole life, I know the toll our weather can take on a garage floor. That's why I had Matt and the crew from Spartan Coatings transform this space. And the best part, they did it in one day.
It was a professional process from step one. The polyurea and polyaspartic system provides superior flexibility, is 4 times stronger than epoxy coatings, and will withstand temperatures high and low. Plus, it comes with a 20-year warranty. Whether it's a garage floor, patio, pool deck, driveway, or your interior flooring, Spartan Coatings has you covered. To get started transforming your ugly concrete surfaces, call 904-671-3930 or visit SpartanCoatings.com today for your free quote.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles. from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained. And they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
We will be live at Best Bet St. Augustine tomorrow. It's right off 95, exit 311, and we've been down there quite a bit. We love hanging out down there. It's a fantastic place to be, and perfect time, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You come down, have some lunch. They got a full menu and good food, and maybe get your weekend rolling a little bit earlier. And so tomorrow is the day. We'll be down there for that as we head into the weekend. Start your weekend early with us here in beautiful Northeast Florida with Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network and the Brent and Austin Show. And then next week, we'll start pushing a little bit more about a studio audience that we're going to have down at Best Bet St. Augustine coming up on the day before the Derby, which is May 3rd. So it's also my wife's birthday, so you can come celebrate Steph's birthday.
There we go.
And the Derby, and we're going to have giveaways. I'm going to pick up shirts today, Austen Lane. Best Bet's going to do some giveaways. We're going to have some fun things around there. And we really don't want like hundreds and hundreds of people there. But the first like 25, 30 people are going to get some gift bags and free stuff. So put it on your calendar for May 3rd, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m., Brent and Austin Show. And we encourage you to get down there with us and be part of our studio audience. Well, I say studio, it's live audience. It's not in the studio. It's a live audience down there at Best Bet St. Augustine on May the 3rd.
We could be the first show in history that has a live audience that says, hey, we don't want a lot of people there.
I know.
Just saying.
I know. I've been careful. Like, it's a careful thing to say. And honestly, when I've been talking about to folks about what we're doing, I'm like, I don't really know how to promote this. Because we're going to give some stuff away. And when you give stuff away, well, sometimes a lot of people show up.
People show up. Sometimes the same people show up.
You know what else we're giving away? It's going to be like a free brunch with Brent and Austin.
Okay. I mean, I didn't sign up for this, but okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. So I'll bring my smoothie.
Like, it's a good giveaway.
Yeah.
And we've got some other fun stuff. So, like but I also don't think I want like a line of people out the door.
Yeah.
like because it's free brunch with Brent and Austin and shirts and
hey, man.
And some other stuff.
Yeah, I got you.
But I guess we'll take as many people as you want to come down.
Yeah, let's go.
We'll fire code it.
Do we get to vet these people? Do we get to vet these people for brunch?
Really, yeah,
okay, it's dealer's choice. I like it.
Yeah.
Wild cards.
So it should be a good Friday. That's on May 3rd.
Okay.
And because that's a huge weekend down there at Best Bet St. Augustine for the Derby. They have a big party on May 4th as well, like packed with Derby stuff. So we almost did like a Derby party with hats and everything. But I didn't know if you would want one of those hats on your head.
I mean, hats don't really fit on my head.
I know you're not a hat guy.
I can't pull it off, man. My head's too big. Are we doing bottomless mimosas for this brunch? How are we doing this?
Well, we might be able to get like a mint julep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Derby.
Yeah, I got you. Derby. Yep. Okay.
I'm a big Derby guy. I love the Derby.
You are? Yeah, it's fun, man.
Now, I haven't paid as much attention over the years, but I say this all the time. People are like, what's the favorite thing you ever covered in horse racing? Was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved covering horse racing. So anyway, we'll have that coming up. Join us tomorrow, and it'll be a little more intimate. But there's no free brunch tomorrow at Best Bet St. Augustine and giveaways. But in a few weeks, there will be on May the 3rd. So a couple of dates to put on your calendar. Tomorrow, April 19th, and then May the 3rd down at Best Bet St. Augustine. We're going to be hanging out at a lot of places. A lot of the shows are live on location in a bunch of places. String Sports Brewery, we go a couple times a month. We're going to be going to Furniture Source in the Avenues Mall and also St. John's Town Center a couple of times a month. And I was just over at 1937. It's a restaurant in San Marco. We're going to go live there a couple of times a month. Really cool place, fantastic menu. In fact, I heard I had unicorn fish yesterday. Have you ever heard of it?
Nah, definitely got to Google this real quick.
I had never heard of it. We had never heard of it as a table. We went out there, scouted it out, tried to see like where we're going live. We're like, what is unicorn fish?
Yep.
They had it on the menu. It was fantastic. I had blackened unicorn fish.
Okay, so it's NASO? N-A-S-O? Is it another name for it?
What is it?
N-A-S-O?
Oh, really?
NASO?
Okay.
Yeah.
How about that? It's tasty.
A lot of big words. I can't pronounce half these words.
Now, I didn't look this up, but what they were saying is it kind of... It
looks like a unicorn.
You could sense this. It has like a sweetness to it because apparently the unicorn fish feeds off like shrimp and lobster.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
So, there you go. So anyway, it's a cool place.
That thing's eating good.
Yeah,
the unicorn
that
fish.
Thing's eating good.
Yeah, thing's eating good.
I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was part of the menu at 1937. Cool. We will be there. I think we might be there the first week of May too. So I'll get the calendar out. We'll tell you where to find us. But lunch in San Marco. And by the way, they do have cornhole.
Nice.
Some other games and fun party place to be if you're having a big event. So we'll get into that as we go. Brent Martineau Austen Lane. We got a new guy in the chair today.
Oh, going to the custody corner. Who's in there today?
Rob. Say hello
What's
to
up,
Rob.
Welcome to the custody corner.
Rob probably doesn't know how to say hello to us. There he is.
There he is, man.
Hey, he's got the jumbo shrimp hat. Director Rob. He's even got a name.
Oh, wow.
Director Rob
Came in here hot, huh?
Has everybody had a name?
Not director.
Not Director Rob.
Not director.
Director Rob.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's good. Wonder what he's in charge of. The show today, that's what you're in charge of.
Pushing all the buttons.
We appreciate you being here, Rob. And this is our we have a rotation of players. We have a bullpen on the show.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun. I like it.
Yeah.
We're not going to get sick of it.
I didn't even know we had Rob. I had no idea who was back there today, honestly. I didn't even
I know you wouldn't know Rob.
Yeah. I wouldn't know Rob. I mean, I'm very impressed so far. No issues, no errors, nothing crazy in my headphones. So he's doing a great job so far.
Rob's been here a long time now.
Are we grading these people or not? Are we giving them like a checklist or not?
Not yet.
Okay.
And probably not yet because I feel like everybody's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, all pressure on Rob
zero
now.
complaints. Yeah, zero complaints.
As long as they get your AI Shock Your Mock song.
Oh, yeah. I better do that.
We're usually pretty good.
I better quick do that.
All right, here's the deal. We brought this up. I want to get into this a little bit more because it's actually a topic that ran through my mind earlier this week and never got to. But we just brought up Tyson Campbell. I think Tyson Campbell's fascinating here for the Jags. And the reason, first of all, I want to say I like Tyson Campbell. I believe in Tyson Campbell. I think he's a good player. And I do believe that sometimes the fans, the public, the media, the whatever, sits there and we don't want to give excuses to injuries and lost years. So we say, okay, that guy sucked last year. He's not as good as we thought. Well, I'm not saying that about Zay Jones. I saw Zay Jones do it. I saw Zay Jones try to play hurt. It didn't work well. I've seen Tyson Campbell do it here in Jacksonville. He was an ascending player going into last year. We thought it was going to be a huge year. We thought it could end with a contract extension for Tyson Campbell.
Sure.
He was battling injury a lot, and he never got back. He tried to come back early. He'd get hurt again. And it's just one of those deals where it was, in my opinion, very much a lost season for Tyson Campbell. Okay. So just my feelings, I think he's a good football player. What I don't know is how good of a football player he is. I thought we were going to find that out last year. We didn't get to see it. Here's another thing that I don't know. How does Ryan Nielsen see him as a football player in his scheme? If you ask Ryan Nielsen, I think they would say, it's a good football player. If you ask him a follow-up question, okay, how is he in your scheme for what you want out as a cornerback? I don't know what he would say to that. I don't think we know Ryan Nielsen enough. They bring in Ronald Darby, who's a veteran guy who's played in good defenses, who's good press guy, who does stuff that Ryan Nielsen wants to do. They targeted him for a reason. They're paying him $5 million for a reason. They're not paying him $12 million a year. I get that. There's a different distinction. But do you go get a guy in free agency and say, hey, by the way, we're going to draft your replacement a month later?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying here. I think Tyson, okay. First of all, let me start by saying this. If we're going to anoint Trevor Lawrence still the guy here in this city, and he's the future of this franchise, and he had a messed up ankle last year, and that's what we're going to say in terms of that's why we didn't get the best Trevor Lawrence, well, then we have to do the same thing with Tyson Campbell and his right hamstring. And one could argue, in terms of playing cornerback, your lower body is more important than, and I get it, like, keep in mind, playing quarterback as well, like, you need a lower body, but like, it wasn't a shoulder, it wasn't a broken hand, it was an ankle. So if we give Trevor Lawrence the pass there, then guess what, everybody? You better give Tyson Campbell that same pass because he had a right hamstring injury that's pretty serious, I believe, after Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken. So,
well, I think it was earlier, Austin, and then it got aggravated against Cincinnati when he came back in.
Yeah, I remember like the Cincinnati game was when it was bugging.
I think he re-aggravated it.
Yeah. So congratulations, Tyson Campbell. You get the Trevor Lawrence treatment, and I'm going to say, let's see this year. Prove it to me. Now, if they get rid of him and they say, we're going a different direction, then it better be because the scheme doesn't work for Tyson Campbell, which to me would be a little different because I've seen Tyson Campbell man people up.
Yeah, he's a long player. He would fit the press mold, I would think.
Correct. And yeah, granted, as a rookie, he had problems turning his head around and finding the ball, but he seemed, as he furthered on in his career, to kind of adjust that a little bit. He got better at it. So I like a guy who can take some criticism, take some coaching, and get better. So to answer the question, I think Tyson Campbell's here. And I think Tyson Campbell is your starting cornerback. Enough said.
Okay, so what about the Ronald Darby part of it then? Because I don't think I disagree with you, but I find it very odd that a guy would come here and agree to be a corner in Jacksonville and come to Jacksonville if you would say, hey, we're probably going to draft corner as well. Now, I understand they don't tell you those things.
Yeah,
that's part of the business. But is that a good way to do business unless they were super transparent and said, hey, we may have corners, you're going to have to compete. Like, we might end up with 3 guys. You're going to compete for these spots. Hopefully they were transparent with them because I could see how that could ruffle a guy pretty easy. Hey, all right, you brought me down here to help you out on defense. I'm ready to help you out on defense.
Yeah.
You took a flyer on me. I took a flyer on you, and now you're going to go draft my replacement.
I mean, one would think that Ronald, and I get it, you don't ever guarantee, okay, you're coming here to start, right? But, I assume Ronald Darby came here under the presumption that he's going to be the starting cornerback, as he should. Now, if they go in the draft, then yeah, I think that Tyson Campbell has a chance of getting traded. Because think about this, Brent. In terms of capital, you will get more for Tyson Campbell if you let him go this year, as opposed to if, for whatever reason, he's riding the bench, plays for 20% of the reps or whatever the case may be, and then all of a sudden you have the guy that you drafted in the first round taking his reps, right? So
yeah,
I think that, and once again, I'm not sure what the odds say today, but we did this, yesterday or 2 days ago, where the odds are saying that it's going to be
minus 175.
It's going to be corner, which is, 2 to 1. So there's something to be said for that. If that's the case, then I think you have to have this serious conversation of asking yourself what's going to happen with Tyson Campbell and where's he going to go then.
I want to read something. So that's the setup here, okay? That's what the Jags are thinking. And I want to get to that trade part in a bit because I do think he's a piece that nobody's we've talked about it a bunch on the show. I don't know if other people are talking about it because I'm not listening. But I just don't think it's as loud as it was maybe for a Cam Robinson, Walker Little kind of conversation, which makes some more sense, which is also going to lead me to a different conversation in just a bit. But let's stay on the corners. So we just said, hey, wait a minute. Tyson Campbell is an ascending player who you drafted. And by the way, Balky was part of that draft. So he's got to be tied to him at 33, whether you want to blame Urban for it or not, or give it to Urban or not. Right? That's not a bad draft pick that it's looked over the last 3 years. I know last year got a little sideways on him, but overall, this has been a pretty good player for you on defense. And just from hey, does he fit in the Ryan Nielsen mode? Here's what his draft analysis was coming out of Georgia. Enticing combination of height, length, and speed, athletic gifts for natural man cover potential, impressive short area twitch, agility shadowing route, improved press posture, balance in the last 2 seasons, easy hips for easy flips. I like that one.
Easy hips for easy flips.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
Speed and footwork for optimal route phasing, flexibility provides sudden sink and stop, mirroring comebacks. Which, by the way, he is good at that. I can visualize spots that he's been very good at getting that and breaking on the ball. Rangy to challenge high-low concepts from space. Swivels for smooth directional change in coverage. Ability to recover, close, and make plays on the ball. High school sprint champ in Florida. But what I'm getting at is there's nothing in here that says, hey, he's just a zone guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't think there's anything part of his game, part of what they've done to draft and develop his age, his skill set that say, hey, we want to get rid of it in whatever defense you're running, but especially even in this Ryan Nielsen defense. But the bottom line is I also can't sit here and say, hey, Ronald Darby, come to Jacksonville. We're also going to draft your replacement. The guy's going to start over you, and now you're paying $5 million for a backup corner. That's an odd thing to me.
It is an odd thing. I mean, to me, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't if you're Trent Baalke. Because either, assuming that you take a corner in the first round, all right, we're just for this exercise. You bring a corner in, well, then he starts over the guy that you drafted that you highly coveted in Tyson Campbell, or he starts over the guy that you brought in, that you paid money to. It's you can't win unless there's a trade.
Well, and
even then, though, it's do you win?
Well, I think you.
If you trade Tyson Campbell away after what, 2 seasons?
3.
3 now, yeah, okay. Do you win? Do you win if you don't get as much as you got for him when you drafted, we took him when you drafted him?
I would say, here's why I think you win.
Okay.
Here's why I think you could make him make business sense. One, you got 3 years out of him. He's been a good player for you.
Okay.
I mean, a player that helped solidify a defense and helped make a run to the postseason 2 years ago and really should have made another run last year, even though maybe part of the reason was he was banged up, that you didn't do that. Your defense helped fizzle down the stretch. But you've got some. Now, are you going to get the return? No.
No, you're not going to get a second-round pick.
No, but again, this is a little bit well, we got 3 years. We got a lot of good play. There's investment. And here's the other part of it, Austin. This is where I think it is. They've got to pay a lot of guys. They're paying Josh Allen. They're paying Trevor Lawrence. They might pay Andre Sisco coming off this year, depending on where that sits, because they've got ETN. That 21 class, right? They're going to have to pay some or a lot, depending on how guys play. They can't pay everybody. So is this the time to get out from underneath, cut your losses, if you will, but you don't have to make a major investment? Now you reset the clock on a corner that's younger, cheaper, and you've got obviously control over his contract for the next 4 years. That resets that. It's almost like, hey, is it the best move to go buy a new vehicle right now? I've done this a lot at Nimnick Buick GMC. It might not be the most financial prudent move for me, but you know what I like? I like the guarantee. Once my guarantee or warranty runs out, I like to have the warranty, so I don't have to worry about fixing up the car and everything else running out of the truck. And so that's a little bit of this kind of idea with maybe a Tyson Campbell. You reset the clock, right? Is it the best move you can make? Maybe people wouldn't advise it, but it might be from a whole team perspective move, the best way to go forward.
Possibly, but then we just talked about the importance of re-signing your guys and having those guys. And Tyson Campbell was just outside of the first round, first pick of the second round, right? Was brought in here to make a difference, and I think that he showed signs that he can make a difference. But yes, he has things to work on. And yes, last year you could call it a throwaway season because he was not 100% healthy. I mean, it depends how much you want to take the injury thing and label it that, right? But I hear it all the time with Trevor Lawrence, so I'm going to do it for Tyson Campbell. Fair is fair. So if that's the case, then can you justify getting rid of him? Can you justify saying, all right, well, you served your purpose. You're going to wash our hands of you. We don't see any future plans with you here. You're not good enough. We'll see you. I don't know. The last thing I would hate is for him to go to a different team, ball out, become their true one, become a Pro Bowler maybe one day, and all of a sudden we're thinking, all right, well, here's another cornerback. Here's another player that the Jaguars drafted very highly, brought him in, didn't get a second deal done, and now he's balling out someplace else.
All right, so come with me here, okay? We're going to go in the business side of things in Jacksonville. And I get it. I think you're right. The Jags have said, hey, one of our problems is we're not re-signing our guys, right? We get our guys, we're not re-signing them. We got to be able to do that.
And I'm not saying, so let me be clear. I'm not saying re-sign Tyson Campbell right now, obviously.
No, I get it.
But you know what I'm saying, Brent? Let's find out.
Yeah, let's find out. So let's go off this assumption. Tyson Campbell has a great year.
Mm-hmm.
If he does, or a really good year, you would think you'd have to sign him, right? Or you'd be interested in signing. Now, the other option is you could use like a franchise tag, but then you get into that kind of whole mess. That could potentially be a problem depending on who else you want to use the franchise. Well, again, this 2021 draft class is going to come true here soon, which means you might have a couple of different players that you want to do this with.
All right, but for the exercise, who are you going to franchise tag besides, like say Tyson Campbell balls out? Who's eligible else for a franchise tag?
Okay, so this is what I really want to do. Yeah. More so than franchise tag, let's see who they'd have to pay or they're paying.
Okay.
So we'll go down. Trevor Lawrence, they're going to have to pay. Again, this is if things go well.
Sure.
They got to pay Trevor. Travis Etienne's going to be, my guess is a fifth-year option guy.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to pay him. I think he's going to be a fifth-year option guy. Kirk, we'll see where they're at, but they're already paying him. So let's assume they're paying him. Gabe Davis, they're paying him. Zay Jones, gone. Ingram, paying him. Cam Robinson, probably gone after next year, right? Ezra Cleveland, they're paying him. Mitch Morse, they're likely paying him. Brandon Sheriff, gone. Anton Harrison on his rookie deal. Now you go on the other side. Eric Armstead, they're paying him. Devon Hamilton, still under contract year 3. Now you might be able to get out from under that, but we'll see. Roy Robertson Harris, let's just say that you can get out from that one. Josh Allen, you're paying him. Devin Lloyd, he'll be going into year 4, so you don't have to worry about him. Foye, you're paying him. Trayvon Walker, you don't have to worry yet. Antonio Johnson, you don't have to worry. Ronald Darby, you're paying him. Andre Sisco, you do have to worry about his next deal, potentially if he balls out, and then Tyson Campbell. So what that lends to is Trevor, Tyson, Andre Sisco. I think that's it about who you would be like on the books for next year, having to think about a big deal, assuming ETN, by the way, is like a fifth-year option guy that they pick up.
Yeah. Or, once again, you can tag either Sisco or you can tag Tyson Campbell.
Yeah, you're not going to tag. You can pick up fifth-year option of Trevor anyway. You're going to do that. And then, yes, you could tag either Sisco or Campbell. So, as we talk through this, you're not in a bad spot there. You're not in a problem spot where you're like, hey, we're not going to be able to afford all these guys, so we can't pay Tyson. Now, if he has a monster year and it's starting to cost great corners cost $20 million a year now.
Then, yeah, I mean, if he has a monster year, then guess what, Brent? You tag him and get something for him.
Yeah,
we've seen this story many times before. Like it's just my point where it's like, if you're truly going to wash your hands of him right now, you're going to draft a corner and then maybe trade him away. I just echo, will it be worth it? And I have a hard time justifying that.
Yeah, well, listen, Matt Jones said just give Tyson Campbell the fifth year, prove it year, like Bortles. I don't understand all this talk about giving players new contracts when their current contract's still active. We're not talking about that with Tyson. We're talking about what you do next year if he has a good season.
Well, he doesn't have a fifth year option anyway. I mean,
and
he's
he doesn't.
Second round
You'd
pick.
have to use the tag. But, I mean, you have a fifth year option. It's called the tag in that instance. But which means let's just assume they have a very good year. Again, this is where you have to go as a franchise. You're assuming you have a very good year, which means Andre Sisco and Tyson Campbell are both due. So are you getting rid of Andre Sisco? Well, I would say probably not. I think free safety is one of the hardest positions to find if you feel like you got your guy. Like, I would think he's the guy that gets signed. Now, free safety, you can also, it's not the most expensive position to pay.
I mean, we've tried to draft some corners, Brent, and find some corners, and it's been a process here too as well.
I understand. I'm just, Sisco's, that free safety spot's tough, but Sisco's a cheaper option too. You're not paying $20 million to free safeties. I don't think that's where the league has gone yet. No. So, I think Tyson Campbell could be a fifth-year option. What I'm getting at here is if you look at this draft, I still come back to this. Tyson Campbell could be very much a part of your future if he plays well for you in this system. And Ronald Darby, you just made a part of your future at like $5 million a year. Yeah. So where is the guy you're drafting at 17 at corner playing?
I know.
Like, who are you bumping out? Who are you willing to sit on the bench? Who are you willing to be unhappy? Or who are you willing to move?
Yeah.
Like, those are the questions that you have to ask. This is why I haven't liked corner the whole time. Now, I can make it make some sense if they move Tyson Campbell at some point because they drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry to take his place. They think he's a better player. He's going to be a cheaper player for the next 4 years. We're going to get something in return for Tyson Campbell. What I can't make much sense of, and I'm fine with competition, but I just don't see your second-round pick from 2021, who's played some pretty good ball, by the way, and we're even talking about is he on the verge of elite, sitting on the bench and playing behind Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
I don't think Trent Baalke sees that.
And I can't imagine that Ronald Darby, now, is it worth paying $5 million for a backup if Darby's going to be backing up Kool-Aid McKinstry in this instance and name your guy? And I can't imagine he'd be a happy player if that were the case.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. Like, that's why everybody wants corner. Like, those are the conversations we're having now. Darnell Savage is a nickel guy. It looks like they paid him, too, to be the nickel guy.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a rotation position. You don't play 5 different corners.
No, I hear you. Let me ask you this, though, because Savage is going to be doing a little bit of everything, right? You think, he played safety. Like,
yeah, but
Green Bay.
They have, but they're on record now. This doesn't mean this will happen, but they're on record saying basically he's our nickel guy. That's what Doug said last month.
Yeah, but I also heard he's going to be doing a lot of things, Darnell Savage. So, curb that quick. Let's assume that maybe Savage is playing more of a safety role as well. Okay, whatever. Let's just throw it out there. Theoretically, then, could you justify Tyson Campbell, Darby, someone playing that slot? And then you draft a guy to take over, like the starting role at cornerback?
Yeah, and then that would give you flexibility with Savage, right, to be able to go play some safety and everything else. Maybe.
Crack the case. There we go. Yep.
Now,
all right,
listen, I'm not telling you it's impossible. I just think it's an interesting dynamic. And by the way, from a football standpoint, if I'm the GM standpoint, I'm like, heck yeah, we're deep now here. Like, we feel good. And Michael Moore brings up listen, $5 million isn't a lot for a cornerback. I get it. Like, it's not absurd for a cornerback. But it also doesn't say, you just think about the optics of that and what that kind of says. Hey, we go get a guy and sign him to a couple-year deal at $5 million isn't chump change, by the way.
I'll take it.
And we are saying, yeah, that's we're spending $5 million for a backup. You know what they said? Spend $5 million for a backup now? Like, sometimes good quarterbacks are $5 million backups, and you know it. There's not many guys that you're sitting there like spending $5 million and going to get in free agency to say, hey, this is going to be a great backup. Let's go get him for $5 million.
Yeah.
I get it. The elite guys get $20 million. I get it. Darius Williams was making $10, $11, $12 million. And Darby isn't making that kind of money. So it does open the door for it. I think this is an Austin thing. He always says, what does the money say? Mm-hmm. Like, what does the process of this say? That's a really weird move to me. And maybe it's more normal than I think, but I think it has potential to create some issues. in Jacksonville, if you go get a guy and a month later draft his replacement.
Here's my prediction. If the Jacksonville Jaguars go cornerback with the first-round pick, Ronald Darby's going to be your slot corner, Tyson Campbell's taking the 2, and then whoever you take, Kool-Aid, whatever you got, Cooper DeJean, is going to be on the main guy.
Yeah.
It will be your number 1. Or maybe they just play side to side, whatever. But
they might not travel or
and then
anything
Savage
like that.
will be playing safety, like he did in Green Bay. That's what I can see happening. Because Ronald Darby, and we talked about him a lot on the show, isn't the biggest corner in the league. And I think he has played some slot corner before, if I'm not mistaken. You have to Google it a little bit, but I think he did in Denver. So if that's the case, it makes sense.
I'll say one more thing about that. And this, you never know what these conversations were, but the conversation on the podium from a guy like Darnell Savage was he's really looking forward to being here because they were going to not just stick him at safety.
But what did he talk about? He talked about playing, once again, like I think we think of safety, and we think of safety as in terms of playing
in the box. Yeah.
I think of like a safety like in terms of just playing deep all the time and like not. No, I mean, in this defense, I think they're going to ask a lot of him. Maybe you're taking a tight end man. Maybe you're going to be in the box, stopping the run a little bit. But I think it'll be different things.
Yeah.
And once again, I think you could justify putting Darby at the slot.
I get that. I'm going to try to find just here's a $5 million corner. Like Jeff Okudah is going to make $5 million this year. But I think they brought him over there to play, or did they bring him over there to back up?
I'm not sure.
Houston. Darnold, the total value is actually $8.5 million on Ronald Darby, which I think is $5 million, and then it kind of changes him. I guess some bonus stuff is mixed in there. So, I mean, maybe it's just totally, hey, you're going to compete here. And that does leave us the room to be able to go get the next corner here in Jacksonville and pair him with Tyson Campbell. I think it's a pretty interesting dynamic, though, overall on what they're going to do. And one other note here. Got to be better than those two guys, because I think Ronald Darby's a pretty good player. Yeah. And I think Tyson Campbell's a pretty good player.
Brent, I'm telling you, Darby's playing the slot.
Okay. That'll be interesting.
I mean, who else is the slot? Antonio Johnson? Or is he playing safety? Do we know that yet?
That's the thing. Like, he can. They do have a bunch of versatility there, which also is very nice.
Yeah.
And smart. Smart from a football standpoint. Yeah. Listen, I don't mind the football part of this. You're getting better at a position, the depth of the position. I understand it. I just a little bit am concerned with the optics, locker room dynamic, what you told people. Like,
I'm trying to justify it. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to justify how if you take a cornerback in the first round and you brought in Ronald Darby and you have Tyson Campbell, who you invested in a couple of years ago with a second-round pick, what is the overall goal here? What is the blueprint? What is the scheme? And I'm trying to talk myself into this by saying, okay, Tyson Campbell's staying in Jacksonville. He's playing cornerback. Whoever you draft in the first round is obviously the opposite cornerback, and then you move Ronald Darby to the slot. That's how I'm justifying it. And then you have Savage playing safety.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what transpires. We're making room on the roster for corner. And by the way, that would become a very deep position.
Yeah.
Depending on who you get. So, interesting to watch a week away from the NFL draft. Let's take a timeout. I do have a question that I believe is a surprise, one of the surprise things of this offseason in Jacksonville, that there's a player maybe still on this football team. We'll have that when we come back. Brent and Austen Show on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 Network. Thanks for hanging out with us. Shock Your Mock, final day coming up. We'll pit two more mocks against each other in the 12 o'clock hour. Plenty to get to here. A week away from the draft. Draft Luncheon Day in Jacksonville. We'll be down at Jags headquarters in a few hours for that with Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson. Have all of it for you on the CBS 47 and Fox 30 with Action Sports Shacks on a Thursday evening.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to String Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to String Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
I'm Action News Jack's First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. Well, the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Community. That's who we serve.
It's the people. Yes, the people.
Demanding answers because the truth matters.
When are you going to do the job?
Listening and getting help to those who need it.
I just appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
It's about telling stories from deep inside our neighborhoods, informing you, building connections, tracking storms.
Serious storm situation, the kind of which we rarely see.
Holding people accountable.
You were getting at the truth.
That's who we are. Action News Jax.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the Pro Shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
The Jacksonville Icemen go tonight. This was practice yesterday when we had the Icemen on the show here on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. We can do that, and nobody else can in town. That was kind of fun. We had a couple players on. Derek Lodermeyer was with us later on in the program and talking about the Everblades. And how much they don't like those guys. Well, game 1 tonight in the ECHL playoffs. You can check it out tonight at the arena. Game 2 will be 3 o'clock on Sunday. Should be a rocking crowd on a Thursday evening in Jacksonville for some playoff hockey and a lot of fun. Good luck to the Icemen as they embark on the Kelly Cup playoffs that hopefully will take a couple of months to complete and end with a trophy coming back to Jacksonville. Highest attendance in the ECHL. They had a record year of attendance in the ECHL. It does kind of like, hey, the Phoenix Coyotes are moving to Salt Lake City, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the story?
That's the story.
I still think this is a town, a place where if there's ever another professional organization, I've said this for a long time, so this isn't new on my end, that hockey would be the one. I think a professional hockey franchise, an NHL hockey franchise in Jacksonville would be the fit more than baseball or basketball or anything else.
No, I get that, but is it kind of hard to justify having 3 NHL teams in one state?
It is. I think it would have to be like
Florida.
A move from like the Florida Panthers or somebody like that is my guess. Now, the other thing is the NHL could take a look at what these minor leagues are doing and what Tampa's done. Tampa's been unbelievable at drawing. They have really got a lot of hype around the Lightning over the last decade and probably then some. They've grown youth hockey in the state of Florida. Then you look at places like the Everblades, the Solar Bears, and Jacksonville in the ECHL, and I think they all do well, but Jacksonville obviously leads the that is a heck of a thing to lead the ECHL. Of all the places, it's a huge league. To lead the ECHL in hockey in attendance at like 8,500 a game.
It's amazing.
Which, by the way, you only have to get about 10,000 more to fill an NHL arena.
True.
I mean, it is not that far-fetched.
No, I hear you. Panthers, hopefully you guys are getting a little nervous down there in South Beach.
I don't think they are yet.
They're not.
But I'm saying you could maybe add a third in that regard. Now, what would deter maybe is what just happened in Phoenix. They went to Phoenix for the last almost 30 years, and now they're leaving.
Yeah.
Is that because it's in the desert? Is that just Arizona? Is that just a different market? Is that warm weather? Like, who knows? But I think there's plenty of evidence here in the state of Florida that hockey works, or in the Southeast it's worked. But it's also left 2 places. It's left Atlanta. It's a warm place in the Southeast. It's left now Phoenix.
Yeah.
And for a variety of reasons they leave. But you do wonder if that's a little bit of a hesitation if there's ever an NHL expansion.
No, for sure. I mean, listen, I love an NHL team here in Jacksonville. They'd be my second favorite team. Sorry, but second favorite team. I love going to the games and everything. Like it's a great atmosphere. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if you can justify having 3 NHL teams in the state of Florida.
Yeah, you might not be able to. But I can tell you this, it's certainly a justification for hockey in Northeast Florida right now, what the Icemen are doing and have been able to do. And I think that can ramp up. We'll see. Game 1 tonight again in the ECHL playoffs. We'll have the highlights for you on Action Sports Jacks later tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30. All right, you talked me out of it. You talked me out of the okay, somebody's going to be either Matt or Tyson Campbell. Do you trade him? I think we're in a better place.
That's why I'm here, Brent.
But so it's definitely going to be Tyson Campbell and new guy. Not Ronald Darby and new guy. If you're going to stay on the outside. That's what we figured out.
Correct. Yes.
All right. That's good.
Yeah.
And Delphonic kind of jumps into and says it. Listen, we went down a late reply, but Darby is a 2-year, $8.5 million contract. Move him to the slot if he can't beat out the rookie. Take your anti-corner at 70 glass, especially if the top OL and wide receivers
Chat's getting lit. I like it.
Now, you're right. We actually digested the numbers even a little bit more in the break. And I think, what did I tell you? I think Shaq Griffin's making like $4.2 million in Minnesota this year.
Okay.
Which might even be more per year than, or maybe it was $4.5 million, which might even been more than Darby.
Yeah.
And so Darby at 30 years old is basically what we're saying. Like, it seemed like a pretty healthy signing for the Jaguars. I mean, that's kind of the nature of your borderline starting corner now in the NFL.
Yeah.
At that price tag.
No, I mean, since we're on the topic of,
because Herndon was like $2.5 million.
Yes.
Just to kind of let you know what they had and what they kind of got rid of.
Since we're on the topic, of obviously cornerback and how you feel about it. I've kind of swayed your decision, I hope, a little bit. Do you want to now dive into and play all the greatest hits of offensive linemen being taken in the first round, or should we not even touch that one right now? Because I'm trying to calculate ways. I'm asking AI over here. Hey, if the Jaguars draft an offensive lineman, how could you swing that in a good light? And I'm still having problems with that one.
Well, it's interesting because BC says draft offensive line.
Okay.
Trade up for Fuaga. Left tackle Harrison. Right tackle Fuaga. Cut Cam's contract.
Okay.
Be a real contender with a real offensive line.
And then Walker Little's just...
This actually plays very nicely, though, into another option for the Jags. Let's just say you find folks who want offensive line and out of your mind.
Oh, let's go, Brent, playing the greatest hits today. I like it.
Want offensive line, and it happens for you again.
Yeah.
And if that happens, then again, we'd get in the same conversation, but an easier conversation. There is no way in hell this organization and this team is keeping new offensive linemen, Cam Robinson at $21 million or whatever it is, and Walker Little. Can we agree on that?
I would hope so.
I mean, there's no way.
I would hope so.
That is happening. So this goes to my biggest surprise of the offseason right now, I think, is the fact that Cam Robinson is still here.
Okay.
So, and the reason I say it is not that it's not even that he's here. It's what went down to move around money and space and everywhere else, and he's untouched. So the Jaguars spend a ton of money. They have the third most amount of cap space available right now the way they've structured contracts. And Cam's, if you looked at it, was the easiest one to maneuver. I think they could have saved $16 million if they cut him. Mm-hmm. And they didn't touch it. So they were able to make all these moves, create cap space, give themselves flexibility, keep Cam, and Cam was able to make his money.
They like him.
Which shows they like him. Now, they also got a little bit of a stern commentary coming out of the combine from Doug, remember. You could tell they weren't happy with the suspension.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And obviously he's been, at times, an unhealthy player the last couple of years. But there's strong belief in him, or maybe less belief in Walker Little, to be able to make that move, or they didn't want to open up a spot. Do you still think Cam Robinson is locked into left tackle, or is that a potential play on draft day if a player were going to be involved?
No, I mean, if you're going to take an offensive tackle in the first round, then Cam Robinson's definitely on the chopping block, on the trade block. Because once again, playing the greatest hits today, Brent, let's go down this road. If you draft an offensive lineman in the first round, what do you get for Walker Little right now? Not much.
Not much.
What do you get for Cam Robinson? Probably a little more.
A little more, but also the cap
and
flexibility.
Then the cap flexibility. So, yeah, I mean, we saw what Juwan Taylor got, right? In terms of contract.
Yeah.
Teams are desperate sometimes for offensive linemen.
Well, based on what Juwan Taylor got, the Jags might feel like they've got a deal on their hands right now, too, at left tackle.
With Cam Robinson.
With the cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Again, for a good player. I read somewhere, maybe it was our guy Daniel Griffiths who put out there like a PFF type of number where he was actually, looks like he's ascending even at 28 years old in some of the metrics and playing better. The Jags, I think, were, at one time, they were 7-0 with Cam in the starting lineup, and then obviously everything fell apart down the stretch. Mm-hmm. It seems like he's the edge guy, the nasty guy. He'll give you a little bit of that, and we talked about coming out of the season, do the Jags have enough of that? I think they went and got a little bit of that in free agency, but I think he still is an incumbent player that has a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. So, this isn't like a criticism, hey, I think he should be gone, this should be this way or that. This is an observation. If you had asked me back on January 15th if Cam Robinson would still be in Jacksonville, they would have the third most amount of cap space, and his contract would not have budged or moved, I don't think I would have believed you.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a surprise. It's the biggest surprise to me that maybe he's even still here because of the flexibility that they could have created, because of some of the depth that they have, or because they could go up and get an offensive tackle in this draft at 17. It's pretty deep. So they could do that if for the folks that want to do it. So, and we'd be talking about a whole different deal if Cam Robinson wasn't here, right?
Correct.
I mean, how much would offensive tackle be in play more than almost anything else if Cam wasn't here?
It'd be a serious consideration, absolutely.
So, is there anybody on the team right now or any move that wasn't made that you thought would be made from a surprise standpoint for the Jags?
That's a good question. Nobody that really like sticks out to me right now.
I mean, I think there were some people that still were a little like, hey, why did you open up this spot if Darius Williams was still under contract? Like, why bring in Ronald Darby for $4.5 million a year if you had Darius Williams for $10.5, $11 million a year and he was playing good?
Because if Darby plays Darius Williams' spot, it's a giant discount, and I think Ronald Darby's a lot younger.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously were. I get what they're doing. I mean, They opened it up to be able to go younger. But I think that was the one move that people could have said, hey, this guy's been your best corner the last couple of years.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But again, that could be fit, Nielsen, all that other stuff. I also think it was a good move to get Darius Williams. You got him for 2 years. You got really good play out of him. And I think good teams then say, okay, it's time to move on and draft that replacement. I think they did that with him. I think they did that a little bit with Rayshon Jenkins. We'll see if Antonio Johnson can play that role. So, yeah, I think Cam Robinson is the surprise probably of the draft. Hey, Daniel Jeremiah does a conference call and gets asked all questions about like everybody throughout the league. It's pretty amazing. It's like a 2-hour conference call, and the fact that he kind of has all these notes on all these players, and he gets some like things thrown out of left field. Well, someone did ask him about the Jags at 17 moving up for a guy like Rome Odunze.
Nice. Yep.
And Rob, if we have that, let's play the audio from Daniel Jeremiah from the NFL Network when asked the question about what the Jags might do at 17.
Come on, Daniel.
So if you're looking at the Jags and, their collection here, they've got a couple fours. They've got just their 2 and their 3 there. If they were going to move up, and it's not, I don't have the chart right in front of me. I mean, it's going to be decently costly to go all the way up there to get Rome Odunze. So I don't know if I see that happening quite as much when I look at some of the other areas that they can address on their team, especially with the corner spot. I think I think it would be more along the lines of them, maybe trading up a few spots with a team like, New Orleans to get in front of Indy, to get up in that range, maybe to take a corner. I think that makes more sense to make a small move and go up there if Terrion Arnold's there or if Quinyon Mitchell is there. I think that would be a little more reasonable. I love Rome Odunze. I've said he's my favorite player in the draft. I just think where Jacksonville is right now, I think it makes more sense for them to maybe stay where they are or a little baby move to go get a corner.
You're disappointed. Well, there's a lot
from here, Brent.
There's a lot to dissect there. First of all, I love DJ, and
take it from here.
He likes Rome Odunze, favorite player in the draft. So
you're looking at the Jags and their collection here. They've got a couple fours. They've got just their 2 and their 3 there.
We thought you were doing that for effect, Rob. I mean, we just wanted to see if Austin was going to stay huddled up in the.
Oh, I'm in my safe space right now, Brent. You just keep talking, man. I'm just going to put my head down a little bit. Go ahead. Say what you want to say about Daniel Jeremiah and give him his flowers.
I do like the fact that he loves Rome Odunze, which also shows you that
I like that too.
Other people will too. So the Jags probably aren't going to get him. For the one mock draft that had Rome Odunze falling to number 17, doesn't sound like that's going to happen. I get what he's saying here, though, and I think would this be, let's just assume those 3 guys are off the board. How important is it for the Jags to potentially get in front of Indianapolis, who also looks like they're going to get corner? So if you do trade with a team like the Saints, I think at maybe number 13 they are, so you just make that baby move according to Daniel Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Is that viewed as a good move? Go get the best corner because you just jumped ahead of AFC South rival.
Sure. Go ahead and make baby moves and get your best corner, Brent. Go ahead and make the baby moves. You know what I like to do, Brent? I like to make big-time splash moves. In it to win it, risk it for the biscuit type of moves, not little toddler goo-goo gaga kind of moves. All right? If you like your guy, if you got a guy at cornerback, and you got to trade up a couple spots and take some baby steps to go get him. Go and give him a nook. Go and give him a little tutor. Put it in his mouth and go get that guy. Then I don't care. Whatever. Daniel Jeremiah ruined my whole Thursday. Dude, and he even said I like Odunze a lot, but here come the baby steps.
Well, it was interesting to hear him talk about it because he was talking about those. He's like, okay, what do they have that they could package up? Right?
Yeah.
And in the trade scenario we saw with Brugler, they gave up, the Bills did, they gave up obviously their first, they moved up 11 spots. They gave up their first pick, a couple of fourths, and a second round in 2025. For the Jags to move up to go get a Odunze or one of these coveted wide receivers certainly feels like they'll have to give up 17, something a little bit more significant this draft, and something significant next draft, like maybe even a first rounder.
Yeah,
if they're going to move up to like number 6 or 7 or something like that. I mean, I just see them unwilling to do something like that.
Can I be honest? So that audio, I thought that was John Shipley asking the question, and that was John Shipley talking the entire time. So I was waiting for Daniel Jeremiah. I'm like, John, just hurry up and ask the question. He's like, I like Odunze a lot, and then I'm like, John, just ask the question, man. But it was actually Jeremiah the whole time.
Delphonic says Austin doesn't make Similac moves. That's a very good reference to baby formula, I believe, right?
But of course, man.
I got that one, Delphonic.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago now with the kids graduating high school.
I'm making those Google Gaga Similac moves, man. I'm making the big time moves.
Is Similac still like the formula of choice?
I mean, why would I know that?
Anybody got a baby? Rob?
All right, let's go to the custody corner. Rob?
Is it still Similac?
You got babies over there? I don't know anything about you, man.
No?
Okay.
Okay.
Doesn't have babies.
Maybe we got somebody bought out Similac, I guess.
Maybe tomorrow the guy or girl will have a baby. Who knows, man? Can't wait to see who it is tomorrow. Well, I don't know. It could be anybody. We have the Kim corner. We got Nick in the Day.
Nick in the Day might be back tomorrow.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
So that's interesting. You thought that sounded like Shipley. I didn't catch that.
Well, because the way you set it up is everyone calls in, I was like, okay, so this is the question.
This is the question
and then eventually.
I cut out. You know what's funny is I couldn't figure out who asked the question. Because I thought, I didn't know if it was like J.P. Shadrick was on the call.
Were you there in that call?
No.
Okay.
I didn't go to the call. So I was wondering who it was going to be, and if it was like a John Shipley or somebody like that. And
it was me.
I couldn't figure out who was on the call. I don't know if it was somebody in Jacksonville or if it was somebody just covering the NFL asking about it and maybe is doing something on the Jags or Odunze or whatever.
Could have been Trent Baalke trying to get some help maybe from an expert. It could have been Trent Baalke. I'm joking.
Andy Cray, been out of the loop, taking a Jags break after the season, came back and Austin is here. You've been out that long?
Hey,
been
man.
doing this for 2 months.
People got after that Titans game, we all need a detox.
I guess
you
so.
You know what I'm saying? We all need some therapy.
I mean, Andy, how are you, man? I mean, that's good to see you.
Yeah, man.
That is one hell of a break. Yeah. I mean, that's a detachment now.
Yeah.
If you can take a break from the Jags and all this conversation going into the draft for basically solid 2 months.
Yeah. Oh, people thought that I got fired from the old show? No, that was me taking a break, man, for a while.
Actually, it's 2.5 months.
Yeah.
2.5 months. Good for you. I hope the golf game's good or been watching some good football over there in London.
No, literally the fact that I had to take a break from the Jaguars and go on a morning show just so I could detox myself from this team. That was a good
before
detox.
The playoff run.
Yeah, and then I immediately regretted that decision when they went to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's like time change, too. We have done that, which you're used to doing the calculations, Andy, on the time
what
change.
time is it where he's at right now?
I think they're 6 hours. Maybe they're 5 this time of year.
Ahead of us.
Ahead. So that's,
you're fine.
He's finishing up his work.
Yeah, sorry for the convenience.
Yeah, this is actually better.
Yeah.
Right? I would think it's better. Who knows? Everybody's lifestyle's a little bit different.
Yep.
All right, let's take a break on the show. Foye Oluokun said something I thought was pretty interesting this week. I had a lot of Trevor Lawrence conversation, but he made me think maybe too deep about what transpired over the last 6 weeks, but even the year. And he also brought up something that I think we all know but didn't want to admit about last season. We've got that coming up. Teasing like crazy today because you don't know what the hell I'm about to say.
I have no idea, man. Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Brent Martineau Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network from Jacksonville all the way to London.
What's up, Andy?
Good to see you
Missed
again,
you, man.
Andy. Certainly have. We met Andy last year in London.
Oh, how was that?
It was great.
Cool, man.
Great. Schedule coming out in a few weeks. We'll find out when we're going to be in London.
Have you seen the Lions jerseys yet, Brent? They just released them.
Did they?
A couple minutes ago.
They good?
Could be a tease.
We'll find out how you feel about the jerseys when we come back.
Lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot. Any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Navigating to that perfect car can be a daunting task. Trust me, I understand, but if you want to find the perfect blend of sales and service for your automotive needs, look no further than the Tom Bush family of dealerships.
Here at Tom Bush, they do things right. Dating back to 1970, they've been a staple in the community, giving back and keeping everything local. With 4 different brands to choose from, BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, and Mini, there's a car for every member of the family, and the customer service is second to none. Looking to add an electric vehicle to your fleet? Tom Bush remains at the forefront of new technology with plenty of staff on hand to walk you through the future of driving and help eligible customers file for that EV tax credit.
Whether you're looking for your future driver's first car or you want to step up to luxury and arrive in style, the Tom Bush family of dealership is the only stop that you need to make.
Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory at tombush.com.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
It might look quiet, but that's just a chance to admire the facilities on the campus of the University of North Florida Ospreys. The stretch run has arrived in college sports, and for the Ospreys, that means the end of the beach volleyball season coming soon. And critical series for UNF softball and on the baseball diamond for the Ospreys team. Tennis is trying to peak in time for April's ASUN tourney as well. The postseason in golf is on the horizon, and track and field has its busiest stretch of the season. For news, schedules, and results, just go to UNFOspreys.com.
Do you have ugly concrete around your home or business? Are you tired of concrete that is cracked, stained, or just plain ugly? Spartan Coatings' range of products provides a surface that is non-porous, easy to clean, antibacterial, and slip-resistant, all with superior durability.
Living in Florida nearly my whole life, I know the toll our weather can take on a garage floor. That's why I had Matt and the crew from Spartan Coatings transform this space. And the best part? They did it in one day.
It was a professional process from step one. The polyurea and polyaspartic system provides superior flexibility, is 4 times stronger than epoxy coatings, and will withstand temperatures high and low. Plus, it comes with a 20-year warranty. Whether it's a garage floor, patio, pool deck, driveway, or your interior flooring, Spartan Coatings has you covered. To get started transforming your ugly concrete surfaces, call 904-671-3930 or visit SpartanCoatings.com today for your free quote.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun, It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville Orange Park and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, Paxson was able to beat Rains last night in girls flag football as we are into the state tournament now. And this is in...
Dang!
Yeah. Ainsley Hicks, I believe it is. She's very good, one of the top players in the area. And they were able to get the win last night over Rains. I'm trying to get the bracket up here real quick to make sure I've got this right on when they play next, but I'm not doing a very good job of it.
Oh, Brian Anger, eat your heart out.
Let's see. Who else did we get some winners? Middleburg ended up winning over Bradford. Clay beat Westside. Stanton over Menendez. Ed White beat Ridgeview. There's Paxson over Rains, 25-0. So Paxson and Ed White will play next. Locally, we'll have Clay and Stanton playing, and we'll have Middleburg traveling to Florida State University High School, which is very confusing, but it is what it is.
That is a little confusing.
Fleming Island plays tonight against Mandarin. That should be a good one in the regional quarters. And Fletcher is playing against Childs out of Tallahassee. So we've got some good flag football action that will result in the state championships coming up in early May. There you go. There's your update on girls flag football. We've got a lot of stuff happening in high school sports as we get down to the final week of the regular season in baseball and softball. We got some district action coming up. And then the month of May filled with playoffs in that sport too, and others like tennis and track and field. So good luck to everybody out there participating. We'll try to follow along on Action Sports Jax. You can always catch No Gate Fees, by the way, which is our baseball, softball, but youth sports show. And we actually applaud the FHSAA for once. We don't usually do that, but we kind of applaud them for their way they rank the teams, and I think they've kind of got it right in how they determine the playoffs. They do a lot of things well there. Now, a lot of baseball people would still like to see a best of three once they get to the playoffs, but how they get the teams for the playoffs, I think, is pretty well done. And we'll have our No Gate Fees show where we did Committed to the Uncommitted, had Casey Epley and Grace Jones from Episcopal Softball on the show yesterday. We replay that today here on our network, which can be found on actionnewsjax.com and the Action News Jax app. That'll be replayed at 2 o'clock today. We'll also have Cup Date at 1 o'clock and a Week with Action Sports Jax at 1:30. So a couple of hours of extra programming and more to come. More to come. In fact, maybe as soon as next week. So there's a little teaser on that with our new network. I think a lot of folks don't fully understand this, that the network isn't just this show. Now, now, Austen Lane, yep. We make the network.
We are the network, Brent.
We are the network.
You are the network. I'm just hanging out.
Yeah. Well, we feel like we're the network. But
true. Yeah.
But it's going to be more than just us.
Correct.
Here on the network.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe someday it's you doing a fighting show.
Yeah, it could be a little possibility of an MMA/wrestling show. Maybe a little. Do we know? So if I was to do that, can I swear? I can't swear, can I? Probably not. Not on the. We could edit it out on the stream.
That's true.
And then on Twitter, no holds barred.
I could do that.
But yeah, nevertheless,
we'll have to talk with the bosses about that.
Yeah, nevertheless, though, thinking about getting into a little, dipping my toes into the wrestling/MMA talk pool. So we'll see.
Yeah, this is an interesting question. If you could start a show, I was just watching something today. Just a quick little thought. I think I saw Armin Katayan. He's a longtime sports journalist and really a good one, investigative guy. And then it was a Bob Costas conversation that said we don't have enough sports journalism anymore out there.
Yeah.
And I get what he was saying, but I also, to me, if you want to deep dive into that, I would say, well, I think there's more than you think there is. There's just not as much as there used to be.
Yeah.
So you got to go find it.
Of course. They still have the sports reporters every Sunday on ESPN.
Do they?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, they don't?
I think that's what he was getting at.
They stopped doing the sports reporters?
I don't think so.
Oh, the most boring show as a kid? Man.
I used to love that show as a kid. That's because that's what I knew I wanted to do.
That shows me right there why we're so great together, because we are polar opposites when it comes to that. Like that, the sports reporters was like 60 Minutes as a kid. Like when it came on, it's like, just show me the top 10 highlights, show me LeBron doing his thing. I don't want to see a bunch of old people sitting around in a circle talking about things.
That's so funny. Like, and it really is different.
Dude,
And by the way, I think that might be personality. That might be listen, you didn't want to grow up and do this for a living. Like I did. Sure. So when I'm watching that stuff, like that stuff is interesting to me, right?
Gotcha.
But I also think it's a little bit of a generation, a slight one. We're not total generation gap, but there's about a 10-year difference there that changes too.
Yeah.
Because again, if I knew I wanted to do this since I was like 12 years old. And so if I'm 13, 14 in 1990, 92, like those kind of ages where that's probably a big thing. And that's before everybody's watching a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody's streaming. The internet's not a thing. Like you're actually getting information. And see, that's what I say about the Costas thing and the Armin Katayan thing. It's like, yeah, there's still some of it. There's not as much of it, but I think you can't hammer like sports journalists for it.
Yeah.
You've got to ask the why. Why is it like this now compared to then? And I think that's the better conversation. I'm not going to get into that and my, thoughts on it, but I'm just saying the why is almost more important. In 30 years, the landscape of how we consume stuff has changed so dang much that it put a show like Sports Reporters out of business.
I just can't believe that you threw out the entire demographic of that show by you tuning in to watch it. And only you at your age group. Like there was no other kid. And I respect the hustle, man. Like I remember when we first started the other one, the other show, like the first thing you aired was like you as a kid.
Oh yeah. I got that.
By the way,
get that back.
By the way,
I want to bring that back.
And I want to bring that back too as well. In my mom's house back in Wisconsin, there are tapes of me. So don't say I didn't want to do this when I was young, Brent, because there are tapes of me. I used to have it's called the Sega Saturn. It came after Sega Genesis, okay? Sega Saturn. And me and my friend Seth Foye, who was from town, we used to play this game called Virtual Fighter. It was like kind of like Street Fighter, okay? And I used to have my Walkman for. You ever see Home Alone 2?
Yes.
Okay, so like the talking thing for Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
So I used to set that up next to me, and I used to do commentary of me playing the video game and what's going on.
Ahead of your time.
So I have it.
You were a Twitch.
Yeah, and it just dawned on me right now. And that tape is still at my mom. So I'm going to have my mom one day find that tape, and we can play that as well.
That would be great.
Seriously, I was twitching when it wasn't even a thing.
Twitching when it wasn't a thing.
Oh, yeah. It's a thing. But, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
No, I get it.
Yeah. I Twitch, but, yeah. Different thing.
That would be great to see. The only problem is, can we play it anywhere?
Oh, yeah. Do we? Hey, let's go back to the custody corner. Hey, director. Do we have, tape capabilities? Like what do you call that? A cassette tape.
Cassette tape. We'd have to go to the other side of the building.
Okay.
Because we are on a stream network, and what we're doing now definitely does not have a cassette.
Okay, well, you guys figure that out. We'll have that done by next week. All right.
Shout out to Panzer Dragon Saga.
Yeah.
On the Saturn.
What a pull. Yeah. Panzer Dragon Saga. I never played that, so I actually played Blazing Dragons on Sega Saturn, which fits my personality.
So Sega Genesis, I remember that. That was a huge thing when it came out. I don't even know what year that would have been. But before that, there were was Nintendo before Sega?
Yeah.
Do you know the chronicle?
Yeah. The original OG Nintendo was first.
Yeah. I think we've done this before.
Yeah.
But I had the thing called Odyssey.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes, I do.
So you've seen that?
I've never played it, but I've seen it for sure. Yeah.
So and then obviously had Nintendo, but there was one that a friend's had. I forget the name of it. It was a big remote. It looked like
Atari. No,
Atari. Obviously, I never had Atari, but obviously a lot of people had Atari.
I'm trying to. A big remote.
I'm gonna find it. I'll figure it out. I always lose the name of it.
Yeah.
Was this colloquial? Vision?
Oh, colloquial vision or something, right?
Was that one?
I think it's a little before my time.
Yeah, that might have been one. But I don't even know if that was this. I got to go check. I thought I had it on the tip of my tongue, and now I can't remember it. But
okay, you said it was a giant remote?
Yeah, like a big remote. Had a little spinny wheel kind of thing.
Yep. So that would be colloquial vision.
It was colloquial vision.
Yeah, good call, man.
Wow, how about that?
Yeah.
Not a video game expert here.
Let's see how much they're giving away for that. Oh, you can get Oh, they're only like $50.
Well, I would hope so.
Pull the trick. Well, I don't know if it's like a collector's item. I don't know.
Colloquial vision. That's the one I remember. Like it felt like the people that had the nice house or you go over, they had that.
That was the nice thing, huh?
I felt like it. I
that
don't
was
know
the
if that
nice
was
thing.
true. That's totally
looks like you're playing with
stereotypical
a couple Texas Instruments calculators. Is what you're playing with over there.
But meanwhile, I had Odyssey,
vision.
man, and Odyssey was not.
I gotta see Odyssey quick. I gotta see what you guys are bringing.
Here's
to the
another
table.
great. When I was in 3rd, 4th grade, this is what I love. Pac-Man, right? We're already on the Pac-Man thing.
Yeah.
So they had this video, the computer version, Apple II computer version called Taxman. And if anybody ever remembers Taxman, it was like, you're talking about computers before, like most of these folks don't even remember, like computers weren't a thing. They had that old Apple II looking computer.
Yeah.
And you'd play with the, see where these things are?
Yep.
The arrow keys?
Yeah.
You'd just play with that, like you'd basically be using those 4 arrows.
Hey, this Odyssey, did you have the Odyssey 1 or 2? I'm sorry.
Probably 1, man.
Okay. Wow, man. Yeah.
Listen, I didn't have cable TV in my house until I left.
Oh, join the club, man. I didn't have it either.
Like until I left for college. Then they got DirecTV or something.
Try being in 3rd grade and having a black and white TV in your room and seeing what your friends say about it. That's what I had going for me. 2 channels, sweet.
2 channels.
I got to watch David Letterman. That was about it, man. The local news, David Letterman.
The best part of the old TV was like how long it took to warm up.
Oh yeah, yeah. You hit that bad boy up
because for some reason I had this old TV in my room and I'd sneak that sucker on and it would make a noise. And so I'd have to turn it off. My mom's coming up, and I'm watching Larry Bird or the Bruins trying to get the end of the Monday Night Football game or something.
Yep.
And I'm supposed to be in bed.
Yeah.
And then so I got to turn it off. Yeah. And then I'm like, when she leaves or goes back downstairs, I got to turn it back on. Yeah. And it takes freaking 40 seconds. By then, you're in the 3rd quarter by the time the damn thing turned on.
I just remember because like I didn't grow up with cable at all, but I remember going to my great aunt's house, who I thought was like the coolest because they had cable. Because I didn't really know what cable was about. But dude, you want to talk about like going to her house, watching Nickelodeon, watching MTV and music videos, like that was insane to me.
Yeah.
Like that was mind blowing.
I did that at my best friend's Pat. Like that's where you'd see that stuff. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
It's so wild to think of that.
Yeah.
Like I've never even talked to my kids about that stuff. Like that's got to be so foreign to people.
Oh, I know.
So foreign.
I mean, we have it's on our cell phones now, Brent. TV's everywhere.
Just nuts.
Yeah.
All right. So along those lines, you were talking about like what we could do on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network.
Oh yeah.
What show do you think people would want to put on? Like you got MMA, you can mix in wrestling. Like there's a nice little correspondence there. We do NASCAR.
Yeah.
We're doing kind of a week with Action Sports Shacks, which kind of all our local sports stuff. We're doing high school baseball and softball. We've got some other ideas to do things too. But I'm wondering like what
type of show?
Yeah, because like what's the most like everybody starts a YouTube channel now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or a podcast.
Yep.
What are they like? What's the most common thing people talk about?
I mean, I feel like body optimization's big. I feel like
really that's a good point.
Like movie reviews, book review. Probably not book reviews. No one's reading anymore. Probably movie reviews, music reviews, album reviews, things like that. Yeah. I mean, you're kind of you're talking the wrong guy when it comes to the social media game. You know.
Yeah, and I was thinking of that. Like I just would wonder what like genre. You might be right. I mean, I'm sure everybody's tried to mimic like the Toy Kid, who's made a gazillion.
Oh, Ryan's Toy World.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what that is. My guess is some business money, cryptocurrency, like was probably a thing for a bit, right? Where everybody's doing a YouTube channel or something about that.
Well, I mean,
whatever's hot, you just jump on.
Yeah. Like when I think of like popular YouTube things right now, and I hate admitting this, and actually Casey and I talked about this last week about the WrestleMania stuff, was like a lot of these guys just kind of pull pranks again. You know, like remember like Johnny Knoxville and the whole Jackass crew?
Yeah.
I feel like modern day influencers are kind of like that as well.
That's interesting.
But it's also a bummer to me too, because I feel like all the things that I see that just come up on my phone, they're all staged and fake.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're to pull a prank on somebody,
yeah, that's a good point.
Come on, like unsuspecting, please.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Though I think there's a part of our psyche that kind of wants to know if it's real or not.
Yeah.
But it's okay being delusional about if it is or isn't.
See, and I can't do that. I can't watch like these prank guys and be like, I'm like, oh, that's fake. Like that's set up. I can tell.
That's interesting.
And that just bothers me.
It's interesting, but you love wrestling.
Yeah, but I know it's like, it doesn't come across as, you know what I'm saying? Brent, don't, I
just thought that was a little low-hanging fruit.
It's low-hanging fruit.
That was pretty low.
It's low-hanging fruit. Keep it up.
Easy.
Keep it up. Oh, I can't. You know what's going to be a great day? When we have a golf thing, like you'll start a golf. You know what I'm going to do actually, just to spite you now because you said that comment? I'm going to do a wrestling/MMA podcast, and I'm going to throw some golf in there as well. and the reason I'm going to sprinkle some golf on, it's just a little sprinkle, because then when the wrestling numbers get that bump, I'd start talking about golf a little bit, and I'll get sponsored by some big company. And maybe all professional golfers come on and no, Brent, you can't talk to them. Sorry, it's for my podcast.
Okay. Hey, let's go back to football and try to get that bump instead.
Let's go.
I don't know where we just left on that tangent, but I do want to get into something that Foye Oluokun said. We have a soundbite from Foye on Tuesday when he talked, and he said a bunch of stuff, and we obviously had him on the show a few weeks back here on the Brent and Austin show. But I want you to listen really to what Foye said, and I don't know if anybody has pinpointed what went wrong with the Jags last year, but obviously there was more amiss than we felt. And some of that was hidden, by the way, in an 8-3 record in a year full of hope that we had just witnessed the year prior. But listen to what Foye had to say.
Why is it important? Because if we do what we did last season, we'll be exactly where we were last season. It's no joke the AFC South got better. So if we want to be able, it's like we got who we got in a locker room right now. And that's what we're going to take to war with this. So if we want to be able to come on top in the AFC South, like all of us are going to have to get better. You know, we can't squeak by games where we're not playing well. You're going to have the team that plays the best in the conference is going to be able to win these games. I don't really care what the roster looks like. When you go in on Sundays, you play better than the other team and you win. Like that's got to be us playing better. So let's get better every day so that when we're there on Sunday, we have the confidence that we know we can play.
So that's Foye Oluokun, and I just wonder, as he's talking through that, it's like, what was wrong with the Jags internally last year? Like, he didn't just say, hey, we got hurt. They're not just saying we got hurt. They went in free agency and got players that had been there before, a little bit more leadership. You've spoken to this point. You think Doug Peterson's distraction might have come from, hey, just not enough leadership in that locker room. Yet, in my mind, and maybe I'm just wrong here, but in my mind, I viewed that locker room as a good locker room. I didn't view that as a distracted locker room. We've been in many locker rooms here in Jacksonville. It's like, oh, they got some issues over here. They got some issues over here. They got to fix that. You lose that, the more toxicity you get. Like, I never felt that about this group, which was the same group as 2022 that helped pull through the mud. So when they go get more players, like, I don't look at it as, hey, our locker room really sucked. I think we're like, we just need those other guys that have been there, done that before to help the guys that hadn't been there and done that in the NFL before. But I'm almost starting to think there was even a little bit more to it, because more to that soundbite, what Foye said is, hey, even when we were 8-3, you guys thought we were playing well. But we'd go back and look at the tape and we're like, this ain't it. Like, we're doing too many things wrong and we're getting away with it. I remember Evan Ingram saying that. Like, we're getting away with stuff. And then when they lost to like Cincinnati or maybe Cleveland, he would say, the stuff we were getting away with, we're not getting away with anymore.
So it's funny, and yeah, I do remember that. But it's funny how you keep hearing the narrative of we're getting away with it, right? Because if you, and once again, this wasn't the first time we've heard this, right, Brent? Like, no, it was said a couple of times. So if you keep hearing over and over that we're getting away with it, well, then let me ask you the question: who's accountable? Who's responsible for not letting you get away with that? And to me, that comes down to coaching, right? Like if you're watching film, right, after a game. So Sunday you play the game, win, lose, whatever. You come in, usually you come in on Monday. It's a short film session. Maybe you have Monday off then, so you come in on Wednesday. Okay, you watch the film. It's the coach's job to say, hey, player A, what you're doing right here ain't getting the job done. Fix it. And if the narrative over and over is, we're getting away with it, then there's no accountability. Then there's nobody, whether it's a captain, whether it's a player in that locker room, or whether it's a head coach, a coordinator, a position coach, whatever the case may be, no one's going, you guys can't do that. this isn't the Jaguar standard. So when I hear verbiage like that, when I hear language like that, it kind of makes me turn up my nose a little bit because I'm like, that shouldn't be a soundbite.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. I think what resonates with me when you say something like that is so many times coaches will be like, "Hey, at least we won. We can learn from it when we win. You got to learn from when you lose too, but it's nice to learn from it when you win." There's that little cliche where people are like, "Yeah, we survived it, but we got to learn from it." Well, it's like I just said this on social media. Did the Jags ever really play well last year? And
the Panthers.
Yeah, and I would say, by the way, I think there were. And what are you searching for the perfect game? Okay, the perfect game doesn't exist for a lot of teams. Like, you take the Buffalo Bills game in London, I thought they played a really good football game. But they still turned it over like twice inside the 25-yard line. Remember, right before the half, and then there was another time. It's like they should have won that game by 20-something, and they were hanging on at the end, kind of. But I did think they really played a good football game that day. I think it was Pittsburgh. Another one. They played a good football game, but they probably kicking themselves on Monday when they went back and watched because they turned it over a few times, like silly turnovers. But They dominated the football game. I think they won that game like 20-7. But it felt like they won 35-7. So did they ever go in on a Monday and be like, that's it? That's what it looks like. Because we know their offense sputtered in the first few games, 4 games. Then they even caught fire in that 5-game streak, but their offense wasn't unbelievable against Atlanta. The Bills game, I just told you about the turnovers, which were starting to add up and probably gave their whole team some pause, even though it was a pretty dominant performance in a lot of different areas. After that, they come back and they beat Indianapolis. Okay, the Indianapolis game was pretty good.
Yeah.
They got all over Minshew. They turned him over like 5 times. I forget the offensive stuff in that. Like, did they leave stuff out there? I'm not sure. I'm sure they did, but that one might have been one they're like, okay, this is what it looks like. But again, that was defensive driven. That was turning Minshew over. I think the reason we never felt like the Jags actually hit the stride or who we thought they were or looked the way they were supposed to look was because their offense never really delivered. In fact, I think you can make the case their offense delivered the most. Maybe the New Orleans game is probably a good one. But I think delivered the most against Cincinnati in a Monday night game that they lost.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. But also, Brent, like the Panthers game, they perform. I mean, look at these stats here.
Well, like you said, I think you're right about the Panthers game, but I almost think we have to put like a
okay. I mean, put an asterisk next to it. But we say it all the time. It's hard to win the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the Panthers game was like varsity against JV. They really did play well.
No, I know. And then the Panthers. I mean. Yeah, I get they're probably the worst team in the NFL or one of them, but like they still, they had some competitive games against pretty good talent.
Yeah.
So
so that's fine if that's the one. But you know what's interesting about that one is Trevor didn't play.
I know.
I know. So that's kind of weird.
I look at the sheet though, Brent. Like 317 total yards on offense.
Yeah,
and it was balanced. 162 passing, 155 rushing. Only 1 penalty that game.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. And like Andy says, do you think the locker room was too good? No one to call out who wasn't good. That's a good point. I think.
Oh, I mean, I've echoed this many times.
You've said it a lot. Yeah. And they had the guy to stand up and be like, "What the hell? This isn't it. It doesn't matter. We're 7-3. This isn't it."
Yep. And despite what people want to say to me about it, I think when Dewey got the terrible towel in Pittsburgh and waved it around, and everyone thought that the Jaguars are here. The Jaguars have arrived. And what happened next week? San Francisco, I believe, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, and we know how that game turned out because I was there. My son was crying because once again, and whenever my son goes to a Jaguars game, they don't score a touchdown. So he was bummed about that.
Again, this might be me, but as a guy who's covered this team for 15, 16 years now, I'm telling you, that locker room these last couple of years was a good bunch of dudes. So that's why I can't get by it, right? That's where I've covered bad locker rooms where it's like, okay, I can see that. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just saying it's a weird dynamic for me to be like, part of the problem from last year wasn't just injuries. It was really the locker room, but in a different kind of way than it's been a problem in the past or in other parts around the league.
Correct. Because there's great teams that have toxic locker rooms. 2017?
Yeah.
One could argue it was a toxic locker room because look what happened the next season.
Yeah.
Right? With a lot of the same guys. So were they a great team, talented players? Absolutely. Was there some toxicity going on? Without a doubt. You can have a locker room full of Calais Campbells and just good guys and everything, but it doesn't mean that your team's going to be great, right? So I think last year, not to say it was a bad team last year, but they obviously underachieved a little bit. I think you had some great players in that team last year, but you didn't have enough guys to hold people accountable and to kind of keep players in check to think like, hey, we haven't arrived yet. We aren't the toast of the NFL yet. So let's keep things in perspective a little bit. Let's take these losses and learn from them instead of having them snowball and then it's loss after loss after loss. Like, that's what makes a great team. Like, it's the NFL. We may never see another undefeated team again. You know, like the Dolphins can hang out in their mantle. Congratulations. You're going to lose in the NFL. Just going to happen, right? And you're going to play games that you should probably win that maybe you get embarrassed by. But the great teams can come back from those games, fix those things, and then reassure you of who you are. When it went bad in Cincinnati, and you can blame injuries, you can blame a lot of things, do whatever you want to do. But the fact of the matter is that when it went bad against Cincinnati, this team had no response to the next couple weeks.
Yeah, and you know, this coaching allowed complacency. Maybe that's it. They thought they had it. I like that. They thought they had it. Like they did the old Gus Bradley says, never, don't say I got it. I got it, right? And it feels like your point on Dewey was they said they got it. Like, again, and I'm a big fan of Dewey, but that moment, and I should go back and get the sound every time I talk about this, but he said, he was talking Super Bowl. But their play, according to what like Foye was saying is, and Ingram were saying is, hey, we're not even playing to the level we should be playing at.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're 8-3, but we're not playing. And that's a tough little balance. Like, if you're winning, you don't want to upset that. What do? Go throttle the whole locker room and be like, when are we going to fix this? Well, it's hard to say that when you're 8-3 as a coach, player, whatever. But it turns out that would have been a nice message somewhere in there to throttle somebody and wake people up.
Yeah, and once again, I get people disagree with me here with Dewey because, like, in the moment, everyone was screen capping that and celebrating. It was fun. It's fun to talk about. I get that.
We don't get a lot of those moments around here.
I understand. But I remember watching that moment live thinking, you just beat, I think it was still Kenny Pickett. You just beat Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, but why are you treating this? And it reminded me of when Miles Jack when they won the playoff game in Pittsburgh. And Miles Jack put up the L, I think it was, when the camera was panning out. I got it in that moment because, man, all right, you went to Pittsburgh, a lot of history there. Beat him twice that year. Hard place to play. I get all of that. You're moving on. Now you're going to New England. All right, Super Bowl's on the line. I get it, man. Celebrate, talk your trash, get your memes, do what you got to do. In that moment against Pittsburgh in that regular season, against Kenny Pickett or whatever the case may be, I didn't understand why the towels are getting waved around.
Yeah, well, in hindsight, I think that's probably right. The psychology of that team is pretty is something to keep an eye on. I think that's what they did this year. I like what they did. I think we can see what they did in terms of bringing those guys in. And now you mix that with the hungry nature of Trevor and Foye and these other players that learn from that will take that and hopefully grow from that. And maybe that makes for like the locker room mix that they need. We'll find out. I mean, listen, ideally, the Jaguars get another chance at being 8-3. With 6 games to go in the season. Like, that would be perfect, and we see how they handle it again this time. Not usually how the seasons marry up, but I think it is safe to say in hindsight, again, this was off Foye's comments that just kind of reiterate, I'm way beyond, like, last year by now, but I do think, I don't think they ever really, like, put it together. Like, even at 8-3, they never really put it together. And then some of the best offensive games the Jags had, their defense was really bad down the stretch. So, and I don't want to fully say there was just like an awful response team because, remember, they did get blasted by San Fran. They had 2 huge games coming up the next week, and they won them both, Tennessee and Houston. Like, to me, that said a lot at the time. Mm-hmm. Like, they had the terrible towel thing. Then they got thumped by San Fran. And I think it was right after that they played Tennessee, Houston. 2 huge games. They answered the bell.
Sure.
And I remember thinking at the time, I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty good to answer the bell. And then everything else transpired. What they really couldn't answer or handle was answering the limelight. Like, once they got put on that primetime stage, number one seed on. Now we get the terrible towel stuff kind of back into the mix, right? The I got it stuff, and then you add the injuries, all this. What an interesting year. But I'll give credit to the front office and Doug Peterson. I think they identified it. It looks like they've identified it to the point where they went and got the guys that they got.
Yeah. No, I think they addressed a serious problem.
I think that's how you answer that, right? Is you go get guys that have been there.
Of course. Yeah, I think you addressed it. And at the same time, I think it goes to show that, once again, I'm very adamant about, I think Doug Peterson had to play a little bit more of a babysitter and try to keep people in line in that locker room because they didn't have the guys like they do now. I mean, could Doug Peterson have done more? Could the coaching staff have done more? Could accountability be held in maybe a higher light? Absolutely.
Yeah, probably. I think in real time.
It starts regardless of what Dewey was doing, regardless of what, the play on the field, it still does start with the culture and the coaching.
Yeah.
And that's where I stand in it. Yeah, players got to perform. Players got to do things the right way. But you got to set a precedent. And it's kind of circling back to how we started this conversation. If the whole narrative is, I can't believe we're getting away with some of this stuff, that falls on the babysitter. That falls on the parent. That falls on the culture.
I do think you've probably had this in sports. It doesn't have to be at the highest level, but I think I've seen this, even maybe some of the kids' teams over the years, whatever, right or wrong. But you're like, oh, don't worry, it will get fit. You play 2 or 3 games in a row, and it's this it's just a little rut. It's easy to say it at the time, especially if you started off good or whatever, and then it's oh, don't worry, that'll get fixed. Yeah, they'll fix that. They'll fix that. It's sooner or later, you look up 3 weeks are going by and they're still doing the same damn things. It's no, I guess they're not going to fix it. Yeah. Because at some point, you kind of are who you are, right? You can't just go get 5 new players in December. You can't go get all these things. And some things become an unfixable problem that just snowball and you're just hoping. I do think even a sense from a coaching staff, you're just we know what this is. We just got to hope somebody comes up and makes a play. And then, by the way, when they needed that, they got it against Carolina. So that gives you more false hope going into Tennessee that you're going to get it again another week against a bad team and make the playoffs.
Yeah. So, actually,
it's an easy trap.
No, it's an easy trap. But this is the MO. This is the traits of a underachieving team. It's thinking okay, we go out there, we play the game, we get our butts kicked. That wasn't us. I don't know who that team was.
Yeah.
That wasn't us. You guys, we aren't that.
Burn the tape.
Come on, burn the tape. Let's just move on. I'm not even going to address that. I'm not going to give it power enough to even address that film.
By the way, Mike Caldwell literally said that one time. That wasn't us.
Really?
He literally said that quote. I forget what week, but he said it.
Okay, well then this is great. Next week comes out, and maybe you struggle some more. Guys, what's going on? Come on, this isn't us. We're better than that. I've seen you guys play better. And it's all this spoken narrative, and there's no accountability. And this, to me, is an issue. And I'm not blaming Mike Caldwell. I'm not blaming Doug Peterson here. But this is a problem with a lot of professional athletes. I actually just spoke about this in an interview a couple days ago. And, Brent, you've talked about this before, too, where if you're a golfer or if you're a tennis player, it's never, well, I didn't do anything wrong. It's just it was something else. My caddy, maybe my coach. It wasn't me, right? And then that keeps it going on, and then all of a sudden, guess what? It is you.
It is you.
Right? So to me, what makes teams go from underachieving to be overachieving is having those conversations and say, forget burning the tape. Forget saying, guys, that's not us. Come on. Hell no. Let's dissect it. I'm going to make you sit in it, and I'm going to make you explain to me why you did what you did. And then guess what? Let's get better from that. Let's learn from that. That tape's out there. We're going to watch it. We're not just going to say it didn't happen. It happened. And we only get so many chances to get wins. So this happened. Why did it happen? What did we do wrong? And how can we fix it?
That's a good point. I got to be honest with you. Sometimes I feel like you do this. This isn't just a coaching thing. Beware of this. I feel like you do that sometimes even in parenting.
Yeah.
I'm really on the couch here. But it's no, because you wonder I think you let some things slide sometimes. Go wait a minute, I don't want to start the day like this. Or how's everybody doing? You never know what everybody's, mentality is. Or hey, listen, at our house, you might have a big game tonight. Or so, is this the time to have this conversation?
Sure.
And those are real deal thoughts that go through my mind. And you're talking about like teenagers and things that you should be like, you can't get away with that, right? Or something. It's funny how like some of those things, like you live that, like I live that. I watched my parents live that. I feel like with us, like in hindsight, and I think there's some of those traits about like a football team or a team or sports or whatever that kind of relate. It's pretty wild.
Listen, and far be it from me to tell people how to live their lives or how to live your life in a positive way by any means. I speak my truth of what I've seen and what I've lived. But I will say this, and circling it back to football, but also this can be considered in any walk of life, any job, any setting, whatever you want to call it. We have a tendency to push things on the back burner, to say it's not us, to say it's not my fault, to say that wasn't us, to say I don't recognize who that person is, yada, yada, yada. We do that because it's easy.
Yes.
Because it's the easy way out.
That's true.
It takes a real person. It takes a person who wants to grow, get better, to be like, all right, I don't want to watch this film. All right, I don't want to address my kids or something like that, but I have to do it. And I consider it like resistance training. Like if you go to the gym, it's resistance training, right? Like you put weight on the bar, you lift it, you put more weight on the bar, you lift it. What happens? You get stronger, you grow. Same thing with this. Like if you put yourself through that, if you watch the hard film, you have the hard conversations, you have the hard dialogue with a kid or a family member, whatever the case may be, that's your resistance training. And then in the end, you'll be a better person for having gone through that. And the time sucks. Worst thing ever. Trust me, from somebody who's had it from a lot of coaches, some coaches want to burn the film, don't watch it. And in the moment, I'm like, thank God, right? Because I had a rough game. Jack Del Rio, thank you so much, man. Because I don't want to get called up by Joe Cullen, 20 times. Why are you loafing here? You're out of gap here. Oh, man, thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right, Austin, put it past you on to the next one. Yeah. And you know what? Mentally, that makes me feel better. I feel refreshed. Let's attack the next week. But did I get better in that moment? Did I learn from that moment? No.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's resistance training.
Yeah, it's how I feel about running. It's like,
or running.
Gosh, I hate running, but I always say it's like after you do the run, it actually felt pretty good, and you're glad you did it.
Yeah. No, I mean what they call like the high, the runner's high, which I still haven't felt.
Yeah, I've never felt that either.
I've gone 3 miles and I'm like, nope. Still sober.
But I'm always like, if I go for a run or something, like I hate the idea of it.
True.
But once you get through it, you're like, kind of glad I did it.
Glad you did it.
Feel pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Listen, I love that part about sports in general. And I think this team has been a very interesting test of that over the last couple of years, from underachievers to overachievers, to overachieving and underachieving. We've seen it all. And now what will we see in 2024? Let's take a break. Shock Your Mock is coming up next here on the Brent Austin Show, Action Sports Jack's 24/7 network. Shock Your Mock, presented by Everbank. It is on the way when we come back. I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains, and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
It's the fishing tournament everyone wants to get in, and it's time for you to register. More than 650 boats entered last summer in the Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin. Mark the calendar now, June 8th. This is fun for the entire family, and everyone has a chance to win big. Limited boundaries, no bait buying, no checkout. Cash prizes for the top 25 places, cash prizes for the top 10 lady anglers, and prizes for the top 15 junior anglers. The grand prize, this Yellowfin Bay boat with a 200 horsepower Yamaha and a Ameritrail trailer. The value over $100,000. It's the Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout. Early entry until the end of May is open and $250. If you don't catch the big one, don't worry. Just catch any size kingfish and have a chance to win $10,000 with the Nimnik Lucky Ticket. OldSchoolKingfish.com. Register early until May 31st at OldSchoolKingfish.com.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
Streaming right now on Action News Jax.
Let's get your morning started.
It's local.
Take a look at this surprising video.
It's breaking. It's weather 24/7.
I gotta keep you guys safe.
It's original.
More trucks, more food.
It's entertaining. Now it's new and free. Everywhere, anytime. Stream Action News Jax wherever you watch.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, it's lunchtime here in Jacksonville on the Brent and Austin Show, and, well, good time to order up some Donato's Pizza. I had plenty of leftovers the last couple of days. You can check it out at Donato's Pizza as well online. Give them a call. Mandarin, stop by Jack's Beach location, and use the code BRENT20 to get 20% off your order. You'll want to do it, save a little dough, and eat some pizza with the family, or just all for yourself. I'm thinking that we can do a draft day giveaway next week for a pizza party.
I like that.
From Donato's Pizza.
I like it.
So I'm thinking maybe like more off the Thursday night. I'm not sure people are having a party, but the draftniks really like it probably on Saturday because that's where it gets a little deeper dive.
True.
A little deep dish, if you will. But I got to come up with a way to do it. And next week we'll give away like a little pizza party. Maybe I'll even deliver it.
Didn't we do that a couple years ago?
We did that. You had to deliver because I think I was at the draft.
I think it was me and Kuz did it.
I think you and Kuz, yeah. That was fun.
That was a great time.
Now, if there's some pepperoni on the Donato's order, I probably will eat some in the car ride over.
And if you
that would be a bad delivery guy.
I'm just saying, if you have some hot honey on there, so I won't even eat it. I'll just lick,
Okay, Austin won't be delivering it to you.
Whoa, dude, you're eating it. I'm licking it. What's the difference?
He's in Las Vegas. Don't worry. He'll be fighting. I'll be delivering it.
Well, hey, man, don't put hot honey on it then.
Donato's Pizza. Again, Brent20 is the code to get 20% off. Check them out in Mandarin and Jack's Beach. And seriously, stay tuned. Next week, we have a lot of fun stuff coming up, giving away a bunch of things. And we're going to try to do a little giveaway draft party weekend with Donato's Pizza. We'll have more information on it coming up next week. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Brent and Austin Show. Director Rob sitting in as well. We appreciate him. Action Sports Shacks 24/7 Network. And here we go. It's the final battle of Shock Your Mock 2024. We did it different this year, and it continues next week with the quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. We need people to vote. Maybe we'll just be the big winner we end up doing the pizza party for.
Yeah, I like that.
Maybe that's the easiest way to go.
Hey,
but what if it's like Andy Cray in London or something? I got to make sure people in town.
I mean, hey, if
I'm
you're
not delivering to London.
You're not going to do it. Brent, come on.
I've got things going
Expense it.
That's a good point.
What are you talking about, man?
I'll put some in my pocket for when I go in
Mr. I am
October.
the show. Mr. I am the network. Can't even go to London on a quick trip? Man.
Maybe I'll jump in with Matt Lucas from UNF Tennis on his recruiting trip.
That's a good
by the
point.
way, it's a really good recruiting trip.
That's a great recruiting trip. Yeah, like probably go to Spain and stuff. Yeah.
All right, Shock Your Mock. Let's go.
All right, Brent. Well, this year we did something. We did a lot of things different, obviously, but we also featured new theme songs every single day, courtesy of AI. And this one is no different. I sent it to the studio, to the Beat Laboratory. We had a little viewing party, I guess. We had some guys, in the custody corner over there that listened to it already, and they said that it's weird. So that's all
They've all been a little bit weird. So the problem is yesterday's was awful.
Last year, it left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
I came back with vengeance. I think we have Pop today, and it's going to be featuring a male AI bot, I believe.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired of the lady.
Yeah, we had, Brent, careful now, but yeah, we had a lot of female singers on our Shock Your Mock songs.
Yeah.
It's going to get some guys.
Don't just clip that out. Please use the context.
Casey Kurtz, if you're listening, clip that out, please. I want to see how that pans out for Brent. All right, so without further ado, Brent, for, the last time this week, let's hit that track.
Wake up, hear the call. Brent and Austin playing ball. Just
oh, yeah.
Come on, stand tall. Future stars, they won't let us fall. Shock your mock, the crowd's in a fever. Banner hits, we are true believers. Dancing in the stands, we're the noisemakers. Cheering loud, we're the real game changers.
Yeah,
that
we
doesn't
are.
rhyme, though. Oh, that's how you're going to end it?
I like that.
That's the mic drop?
That was a mic drop.
We're some noisemakers? Calls game changers? Changers and makers? Yeah, see, this is why I have to do slam poetry by myself, Brent, because you can't have these AI bots doing it
AI
for me.
cannot duplicate. Our jobs are safe. For now.
Hey, if anything Shock Your Mock has proven, it's, hey, AI, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
all this talk and all the political don't even worry about it. It's fine. We'll be all right, everybody. Okay.
So our two contestants are Jake Scott and Steve Boston.
Yeah.
Jake, by the way, I hope he digs a little deeper on his passwords than his handle. Jake_Scott 1234.
Hey, man, he was
whatever it takes.
He must have been in a rush. Is this Jake's? Do we know who this is? Quick, I can look it up here too.
This is Jake's.
Give them the credit that they deserve. Okay, this is Jake's, Brent. Maybe you're feeling a little better about this pick today, since I can maybe talk to you in a little bit of getting a corner in the first round if wide receiver doesn't fall to you.
I've been doing a lot more work on the corner. I know other people have for a while, but now that the odds are going up,
yeah.
And I was trying to Delphonic's point, try to avoid it at all costs.
Yep.
This guy might be my favorite one.
Okay.
And I know he's been a lot of favorite. I know that's not breaking news. I think Terry and Arnold and Quinyon Mitchell are kind of the two guys.
Yeah. Does the small school prospect scare you?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. Not seeing all the stuff here.
Okay.
I think this guy has star potential. Again, Arnold I think is a fine pick too.
Yep.
But I like this pick.
Okay. Well, Brent, Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo, pick number 17. No trades in this draft. You got to appreciate that as well. Brent, you know what I've done? I've done the due diligence. I've put in the man hours, athleticism score, and production score combined. Gave him the highest numbers of any highest-rated cornerback in this year's draft.
All right.
And that's Next Gen Stats, and that's me copying and pasting that and then putting it on my email here where I'm reading it from. So I am doing the hard work. 6 feet, 195, ran a 4.3, 338-inch vertical. NFL comparison is Steve Nelson. I put a question mark because don't remember Steve Nelson that much. He might still be playing.
Only problem
Steven
with this
Nelson.
guy.
Yeah. Brent, I hope you're hungry because you know what he's got? He's got a gumbo of traits. He's got the size, the strength, and the speed to fill up the pot.
It would really help us if we're in the NFC South and had to play New Orleans a couple of times.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Brent, in the famous words of Jimmy Buffett, he once said, "I will play for gumbo." Maybe the Jaguars will pay for gumbo, as Quinyon Mitchell could fall to them. They say he's built like a running back, tackles like a safety, and has the ball skills of a cornerback. Well, I hope so.
Well, let's hope so.
Let's hope so. And keep in mind, some people out there, the whole small school thing. Dominic Rhodes-Camardi was a guy that came out of Tennessee State that we played against when I was way back in the day, and he did just fine.
Yeah, I mean, Toledo's not like super small school, but it definitely, obviously, outside the Power 5 is what gets people. And
the reason why I say Dominic Rhodes-Camardi because he was a first-round pick as well from Tennessee State.
Do you have a favorite corner right now after doing all this? Like, is there one that...
I mean, honestly... I'm kind of on the same boat with you where I don't think corner in terms of a small school really matters because, you're not going against the best wide receivers per se, but the guy in terms of speed, athleticism, he's a beast.
Yeah, he's good. And I like him. Again, I think Arnold coming from Alabama makes some sense too, but I think this guy might have more upside because he's less known.
So,
right? And so from a star standpoint, I feel like he could be, that could be like a steal at 17.
So here's how I feel. I feel like Arnold is the safer play.
Yeah.
And you know what you're getting, and it's going to be a quality corner. But I feel like the ultimate, one day, the boom, the Sauce Gardners of the world, call them what you want them, could be this guy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
And I like that.
Yeah, no,
my job ain't on the line.
Exactly.
I got to say that was dumb in 2 years.
We're just going to scrub this, and it'll never exist again. Brent, pick number 48. I mean, we came with you on Quinyon Mitchell, sir, but now pick number 48, we're going, one would think, depth.
I mean, there's a
depth here, right?
I mean, this guy's not playing week 1 or week 8 and hopefully not week 17.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he has championship pedigree if he played on the basketball team.
Yeah. 6'3", 317, 33 and 1.5 inch arms, 9-inch hands. That's going to be a Trent Baalke Blue Light special. We know that. Ran a 5 flat, which is pretty impressive for his size in the 40-yard dash. 36-inch vertical, which is also pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
And then 8'6" in the broad. So the guy could be a stud in basketball, but be an amateur in hopscotch. I guess one would conclude there.
But the vertical was pretty good.
Vertical's good.
We've had guys his size jumping 25 inches.
No, for sure. Just getting out. Not necessarily the best. But 4-year starter. Brent, they say that he has great stance, great posture, and great footwork to play on the interior, according to some scouts. But scouts saying that and this is what I didn't really get, he lacks, I guess, the height. He lacks size and length, which I guess 6'3" could be on the shorter side.
We've seen some of the arms go like 34 and a half, and so there are longer players than even him.
And a major issue for this guy that scouts are saying as well that he might get drafted by the Rams, I guess, is that the helmet comes before his hands, so he leads with his head a lot. Like a Ram.
That could be a problem.
I mean, I did that too, and it turned out okay.
This is interesting. Look how long this guy played in college, and this is what you're getting now out of the draft sometimes. He redshirted in 2018, started at right guard in 2019, didn't play in 2020 because of COVID, started at right guard in 2021, 2022 started at right guard, 2023 started at right guard.
So Christian Haynes has his doctorate as well.
I mean, 6 years. And by the way, all at the same school, which is something to be said, and all at the same position. He's truly a right guard.
Yeah.
And if you try to put him somewhere else, I think you're playing with fire a little bit. It doesn't look like he's played anywhere else. So, but I like the experience. Like, do you look at a guy who's played that long in school now as a positive or as a negative? Older guy, good. Older guy, bad. What do you think?
No, I mean, I think the older guys are good. I'm not opposed to older guys, Brent. I like older guys. Come on now. I just feel like...
By the way, I'm not going to say old. I'm talking like probably 24.
Yeah, but I just think of like a maturity aspect, a locker room asset. I think if a guy's had more experience in college, it's only going to be better.
Especially at that position, because what I look at, Austin, is from that position, you're more physically mature.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
he's probably got kids, probably got grandkids that long in college.
So many guys now come out at 20, 21 years old.
Yeah.
Remember, Trevor came out at 21 years old.
Yep.
So anyway, listen, I don't mind the guard play. I don't love it in the second round.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel like...
No, I mean, yeah, and I'm with you on this. It's just you have other needs to address. Wide receiver would be one of them. Edge could be another one. And decide you went with a depth pick at 48. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Brent.
The next one, man, is a steal if you get him at 96.
So Tavondre Sweat, defensive tackle from the Texas Longhorns. Brent, real quick, what are your thoughts before I dive into the numbers?
Well, we drop in the keys in the front office before we get in. There's a key drop.
Yep.
Because this didn't turn out well the last couple of weeks.
It did
Sweat's
not.
a guy that was a little overweight at times. He's dropped because of the DUI. But he's a real talent.
Yeah.
And there's no way in hell anybody's getting him at 96, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So if you did, congratulations, and we'll take the potential character things.
Yeah, so 6'4", 336 pounds, 33 and 1/4 arms. That's going to be a Trent Baalke Blue Light special. Scouts says that he uses wingspan well, 5'2", 7 in the 40, 26-inch vertical, but hey, big boy. Big boy Outland Trophy winner, and also Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. And we know how I feel about that. That's almost like being called Producer of the Year in Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. What does that mean? You probably came up here for 3 days and became the Producer of the Year, because we are interchanging like you wouldn't believe. Not saying it's a bad thing.
No.
I'm just saying if you have the title, it's like winning Defensive Player of the Year in Big 12. Deep bench. So a scout said he's not going to get single blocked, so offenses have to game plan around him, especially going to eat up all the inside running game. I mean, this is a guy that you feel like you can kind of plug and play right away, Brent, and he's going to make a difference.
Yeah, listen, again, he'd be fantastic in that mold.
Do the off-the-field issues hamper him falling down
Not a 96.
Yeah.
Not a 96.
Yeah. Skip's going to drive him around if it comes down to it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You'll deal with it at 96.
Shout out to Skip. Yeah.
And listen, I mean, you have a couple of things. It doesn't mean you're going to be a problem. Like, it made a couple bad choices. It's concerning. I think I saw, again, Jeremiah, I think, answered this question. You can tell if there's going to be a lot of Zoom calls going on around this guy to make sure some of the things that have happened with him for these last couple of months aren't a pattern of what's going to happen down the road. So probably for some, I bet he's been red flagged.
No, for sure. And once again, it's like I always say, you have to ask, does the talent outweigh the distraction? I think here it will. So I don't think he falls to 96. I agree with you here, Brent. But hey, it's fun to talk about. Pick number 114. We're going with Notre Dame Blake Fisher, 6'6", 34 and 3/8" arms. Brent, we just said screw Trevor Lawrence. We're not taking a wide receiver this year.
Yeah, I know the wide receiver thing is a problem, but I don't mind in these middle rounds going offensive line. I don't mind offensive tackle either in trying to hit something.
Yep.
And this guy's a big dude now.
This guy is a big dude. Comes from a pretty good university in terms of offensive lineman, one would say, at Notre Dame, 310 pounds, had a 28-inch on the vertical. Who really cares when you're that big? This guy has all the athletic tools to give you. The only downside, and Brent, we've talked about this a little bit with this guy before, but there's cows in the pasture. There's chickens coming home to roost. The pigs haven't been fed. Trevor Lawrence is on his back, and he wants out of Jacksonville because this guy is the last one out of his stance to do his chores. That's what scouts are saying.
That's not good.
Exact quote. Not the first part. Not everything I just said. I'm saying last to do his chores. That was a quote.
So you figure a quick pass rusher, which there's a lot of them, are going to get a leg up on.
Yeah, but once again, a guy you can bring in, develop a little bit. Yeah. Hopefully he learns how to do his chores in a more reasonable time.
Yes.
Right?
If he wants to get paid.
If you want to get paid, and hey, you got to do it in that Jacksonville Sun, so have fun with that as well.
I'm fine here. And by the way, some projections have him in rounds 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're getting this guy in the middle rounds at 4 would be pretty good. Here's your receiver, finally.
Hey, we got a receiver. Javon Baker. Brent ran a 4.35, has an athletic man score of 3rd overall. and is a detailed route runner who leans on physicality at the top of his route to beat handsy cornerbacks across their face, crisp angles out of stems and breaks, physical at the top of the roots, ate up one-on-one matchups throughout the week at the Senior Bowl. Whoops! Sorry, that's Terry McLaurin's draft profile I just read. My bad. Hang on.
That's the Hamby comp. Javon Baker out of UCF, not UFC.
Hold on. Sorry.
Terry McLaurin.
I just read Terry McLaurin's. I just read Scary Terry's draft combine profile. Javon Baker. Yeah, we'll see. That's all I'm going to say about that, Brent.
Yeah, I think we've had enough on Baker.
Hamby, hopefully you're listening to that, by the way. That was for you.
That was a great draft profile.
Thank you very much.
For McLaurin.
Pick number 153, the 25th Tyler Davis to play in the NFL, it seems like. Defensive lineman out of Clemson. He rocked number 13, Brent, so he's got some swag to him. Keep that in mind. He's from Apopka. 6'2", 301, 31 1/4 inch arms. Ran a 5 flat. 28.5-inch vertical, bench pressed it 29 times. People say he's going to be a 4.3 nose tackle.
Yeah, listen, again, this is fine down there.
Undersized, obviously a little bit. I mean, 6'2", 301 for a defensive tackle, especially a nose, is a little small.
Should be a crime to say 6'2", 301 is undersized.
I know, and for that position, maybe the arms are a little on the short side as well. But we call this guy a Julia Roberts type, where if Trent Baalke's Richard Gere, you got them hungry eyes. Maybe you can make this guy into something that people can't envision.
That'll be good. This is a new guy. New guy joins the chat.
Yeah, Stone. Go ahead and take this one, Brent. Sion Vaki? Yeah, that sounds legit. Sion Vaki.
Why don't they do pronunciations in this on the draft profiles?
They really should. I like that. So, Sion Vaki, 5'11", 210, 29 1/8 inch arms, and 8'5" 1/8 hands. So,
I don't know. Is that we haven't had a lot of safety talk? Where's the measurable length of a safety? Is it
okay? Well, I'm not going to lie, Brent. I haven't seen a lot of 29s in the arms category.
Yeah.
Not at all, really. He ran a 4.62, 39-inch vertical, and 10.5 on the broad jump. Also bench pressed 225 20 times, which is actually pretty impressive. He's a gamer who's going to help his team win. Carries a thick frame, good upper body power with heavy hands. Productive tackler with nose for the ball on coverage teams. Works eyes on the quarterback to route as a split safety. Backpedal is sluggish, fails to gain enough ground. I mean, it's going to be a depth pick, special teams guy.
Yeah.
Take probably want.
And safety, that makes some sense down there to try to take a little shot in the dark. He's a good tackler. I feel like the descriptions tell me he's an instinctual player.
Yeah.
A very good instinctual player, but he doesn't have a lot of the measurables from the arm length to the speed to other things, which I think, in the NFL, when you're talking about the elite of the elite, becomes a little bit of a problem.
For sure.
When the first two weaknesses are backpedal is sluggish and fails to gain enough ground as a safety, that might be trouble. Struggles to flip hips and run in phase with the route, that might be trouble.
Gotta flip those hips.
I think the weaknesses here outweigh the strengths, but again, I understand also it's a flyer position. Well, you're going to come with a lot of X marks.
You're taking him at 212.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? And then pick 236. I didn't even break this guy down because I don't break down practice squad players. And you chose to pick a quarterback over an edge rusher. We're good.
It's Carter Bradley. It's Gus's son.
Oh, it's Gus Bradley's son?
Yeah.
I didn't know Gus Bradley had a son that played football, honestly.
Gus, Carter Bradley, who played at Providence.
Okay, yeah.
Went to Toledo.
Brent, break him down, man. Sorry.
Then went to South Alabama.
Sorry.
He was actually in Jacksonville this week for a local workout with the Jags. So Carter Bradley trying to make his way in the NFL. Here's the deal. For Carter Bradley's sake, I wouldn't want him in the Jags organization.
Yeah.
You got to hear the fans. You got to hear everybody else.
There's
about
that, but also the depth.
He did that when he was in school.
Sure. And the depth's also kind of like, hey, man, you have Mac Jones now.
Yeah.
CJ Beathard's still here.
Yeah. I think I don't see them drafting a QB. They've had guys in, right? They said, Carter obviously was in on a local workout.
Sure.
And I think it was, who did we say the other day from South Carolina?
Spencer
Rattler.
Yeah.
He's been in. So, they might add. They're going to need quarterbacks, but you could also sign quarterbacks later on. It'll be interesting to see what they do there.
And we just said we're all set at edge, huh?
Yeah, here's the problem. Wide receiver, you waited way too long, in our opinion.
Got Terry McLaurin.
And no edge guys.
No edge guys.
Way too early on the offensive guard.
Way too early for a depth pick.
And not realistic, in my opinion, on Tavondre Sweat, because I just don't think he's dropping that far.
There you go.
That'd be surprising to me if he drops that far.
There you go.
But, hey, It might beat the next one.
Well, the bar's pretty low, but let's see what we can do.
Hey, let's not do it right now. Let's do this. Let's take a break. Shock Your Mark presented by Everbank. This is the final day of the qualifying round. We'll have the quarterfinal bracket starting on Monday here on the Brent and Austen Show. But when we come back, we check out Steve Boston's draft and see if he did a little bit better. We'll pick a final winner. We'll put a bow on the show. We'll head down to Jags headquarters for the draft luncheon with Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson. Catch you up on everything else going on in the world of sports all day with the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Yeah, remember the dude that was breaking everything, the Free Ricky guy?
It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
Do you have ugly concrete around your home or business? Are you tired of concrete that is cracked, stained, or just plain ugly? Spartan Coatings' range of products provides a surface that is non-porous, easy to clean, antibacterial, and slip-resistant, all with superior durability.
Living in Florida nearly my whole life, I know the toll our weather can take on a garage floor. That's why I had Matt and the crew from Spartan Coatings transform this space. And the best part? They did it in one day.
It was a professional process from step one. The polyurea and polyaspartic system provides superior flexibility, is 4 times stronger than epoxy coatings, and will withstand temperatures high and low. Plus, it comes with a 20-year warranty. Whether it's a garage floor, patio, pool deck, driveway, or your interior flooring, Spartan Coatings has you covered. To get started transforming your ugly concrete surfaces, call 904-671-3930 or visit SpartanCoatings.com today for your free quote.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access.
Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence.
You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
All right, welcome back. Shock Your Mock presented by Everbank, and Jags on the brink of the draft, a week away from the NFL Draft 2024. We're on the brink of our quarterfinal round on Monday, which we will have for you here on the Brent and Austin Show, the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. By the way, tomorrow, Best Bet St. Augustine. Come join us, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Doors actually open right at 10. Come on down if you want right then, but also good lunch break if you can, right off exit 311 off 95. And we will be there 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. with the Brent and Austin Show live on location at Best Bet St. Augustine. All right, Shock Your Mock. Draft number 2. Our buddy Steve Boston, who's been a loyal listener and viewer over the years.
Welcome, Steve.
Even adjusted to the new schedule, I think. What do you think?
0 trades. You like to see that?
I like that. Adonai Mitchell.
One could say maybe we reached a little bit, Brent, but let's get into it a little bit.
Seems like a bit of a reach.
Adonai Mitchell, 6'2", 205, ran a 4.34, 39.5-inch vertical, 11.4 on the broad jump. You know the NFL comparison. George Pickens. Get that same George Pickens taste without that same George Pickens name. Almost like a Coke to Coke Zero ratio. Brent, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I've seen this guy so much on the back end of that first round. It does feel like jumping up. Does that make him a bad player? No. Everybody's going to have these guys judged a little bit different once you get past the top 3 and probably the top 4. It's a funny thing. I feel like it's the top 3 guys. Everybody knows their name. And then I think Brian Thomas Jr. is in his own little pond fishing. And then there's another pond of like all these other guys, and you can take your pick where you want to put them.
Yeah, I just picture like the whole Cheers theme song. Like everybody knows it. Like the first 3 are Cheers. The next one is like, I don't know. So you're saying Brian Thomas Jr. is kind of in a room by himself? You think?
Is.
Like he's gonna be the fourth one taken.
He's the Will Smith guy.
He's the Will Smith meme. He's the Will Smith meme, and then everybody else is it's like Jersey Shore. It's just
but doesn't
chaos.
it feel like it?
It does. Yes, I agree. With
you. And then honestly, there's a bunch of guys like, and I don't know where the line is between a Mitchell and let's just say Troy Franklin. They were seen all the way back at number 48, which has become a little bit of a sexy move on a lot of these mock drafts.
Yep.
So I feel like that's the other group. It's like boom, boom, boom.
And this is completely different positions. You remember back in the old show when I was trying to campaign for Trevon Merrick forever?
Yeah.
And then like he ends up, because I'm like, you got to trade up to get Trevon Merrick. Get Trevon Merrick. And then like he falls.
Best safety by a mile.
And he was like the 3rd or 4th one taken.
Yeah.
And the Jaguars pass him up. I think they take Cisco then? Is that Cisco's?
That would have been probably might have been Taven Bryan draft.
Might have been Taven, whatever the case may be. But I just remember thinking like, wow, everyone thought this. Like draft experts thought Trevon Merrick, best safety in the draft. Well, he's like the 3rd or 4th guy taken.
Yeah. By the way, it wasn't the Taven Bryan draft. It couldn't have been that far.
No.
But yeah, I hear you saying.
Yeah.
And that's
sometimes.
I mean, again, group think versus GM think. Mm-hmm. I think Bill Belichick, by the way, we haven't talked about Bill Belichick. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. But the Belichick stuff is, didn't he say like the real rumors start to come out like a week within the draft? Everything else is just agent speak.
Yeah. Well, and there is a rumor going on right now about Adonai Mitchell as well. And this was like, it's not from a credible source or anything, but it was the big talk of Twitter a couple days ago. Supposedly he's a type 1 diabetic, and it apparently affects his mood a lot, where like and once again, this is just from some random person, but they're saying how he's not coachable sometimes. Could be smoke, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not putting too much into it, but it was on the Twitterverse, and everyone's talking about it.
Hey, here's the deal. I don't mind wide receiver at 17 at all if you love him. You better be right, though. That's the thing. See, that is the one. This feels like, wait a minute. An organization that's been wrong, and nothing to do with that last report. An organization that's been wrong, a GM that's been wrong at wide receiver before. This, when you go outside the box a little bit, I think this is a bit outside the box in the top 20 than most people are saying. This feels very risky to me. I'd rather now trade back to 25 or 26 and then get him there.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, man, but once again, sometimes you got to risk it. We'll say risk it for the Trisket here because, like, I'm not sure if you're going to get a biscuit with Adonai Mitchell, but we can get Trisket.
But we like that you're going wide receiver.
Cut the check, Triskets. We do it, yeah, exactly, and that's the most important part, right, Brett? All right.
Triskets are, can be good.
Yeah, but they usually need some kind of accoutrement.
Gotta have something
to go with them.
Gotta
right? So let's get something to go with it. Let's get a TJ Tampa. How's that sound? Cornerback
like
out of Iowa State.
So does Kuiper.
Okay, great. TJ Tampa sounds like a kid from Backyard Baseball. Shout out to Pablo Sanchez. Ever played Backyard Baseball? You know what I'm talking about?
Good call. That's
what he sounds like.
He does sound like that.
6'1", 189, 32 and 1/8" arms. Brent, your thoughts?
Listen, I had no real feel for this guy until I was listening to the Kuiper stuff, and I liked what he said about him. We talked a little bit about this a week ago, I think, down from Best Bet St. Augustine. That's where I was listening to it on the way down. And I think that's what you get presented at receiver and corner in this draft. You're going to have some guys that aren't groupthink or that are sleepery and you don't know as much about that are probably going to end up being the stars of the class or the best pick of a second round. This guy might fit. I don't mind him.
I like it. So physical cornerback with long arms and above average ability to ruin catch tries when he's in the vicinity. And also he has a healthy dose, take 2 in the morning, a healthy dose of suspicion to snip out those trick plays.
I'll say this. The one thing about him, isn't he? They think he's better in zone. And is that a red flag under Ryan Nielsen's defense?
Could be.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree with that. Next pick, Brett, let's go to Duke. Pick number 96, Dwayne Carter, 6'2", 302, 33-inch arms, 4'9" in the 40. I've said it before, looks like he's 45 years old. Brett, your thoughts?
I've heard a little bit about Carter. Dwayne Carter, I'd like to call him.
Yeah.
But at 96, defensive tackle, I don't hate it. Again, I think you got to get younger there. I don't hate the pick. I've heard some pretty good things about Carter. Actually, he's not a name everybody's been floating around out there, but I think he's a good name.
So a really good kid, grown man as well. Bull rush can be salty as an interior rush or also maybe even a base end, some people are saying. But a cool thing I read about him, he embraces community work. He works with Habitat for Humanity, and every sack or tackle for loss that he had last season, money was donated to help out kids in the area by Duke.
That's pretty cool.
So it's pretty cool as well. And we talked about this before a little bit. May need a little more sand in his pants, but he has plenty of Smarties in his pants because he's a very intelligent individual.
He's the sand and smarty guy.
Sand and smarty guy, Brent. You know what I'm talking about.
I like that.
All right, Mason McCormick. We're going interior offensive line.
So you've got some different names on here, which I do appreciate.
Games won and lost to the trenches, Brent. As you may remember, Mason McCormick, no relation to the McCormick Salt and Seasoning franchise.
True.
South Dakota State, 6'4", 309, 33 and 7/8" arms. That's going to be a Trent Bulky Blue Light special. And number 1 in athletic ranking out of any guard in Next Gen Stats. Your thoughts, Brent?
Yeah, I'm a little, we're going to get in the next couple of picks here. We got like Gene Smith enter the draft room.
Got to be a hater, don't you?
I mean, we're going with the Jackrabbits.
Got to be a hater, don't
you?
And
the Houston Christian whatevers.
Yeah.
Like,
I should see what their
I'm pretty sure South Dakota State's the Jackrabbits.
No, they are. Yeah, because I got invited to South Dakota State for a visit. And then
did you?
They rescinded, but
Jackrabbit's a good nickname.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm cool here, and I like the need. I mean, here's the deal. What Steve's doing here is going needs. You can argue the guy, but you can't argue the needs. You got wide receiver, you got corner, you got defensive tackle, and now you go guard, which I think is priority on the offensive line. I don't mind offensive tackle in here, and I think he gets to that a little bit later. But you're going to have to take some shots here or there now in the middle rounds, I think, on the offensive line, trying to find replacements for Sheriff and potentially your next left tackle as well.
And you get the most athletic guard in the draft? Why not? McCormick plays with tightness in both of his upper and lower halves, though. So that's not going to be the best thing. But Brent plays with clean eyes. And if the teacher from Ferris Bueller's Day Off taught us in that one commercial, forget dry eyes, clear eyes is awesome. Remember those commercials?
I don't.
You don't remember Clear Eyes commercials?
It's the guy with the glasses. Yeah.
Can we go to the corner? You guys remember Clear Eyes commercials? Anybody? Can you get a thumbs up if you remember them?
Nope.
Oh, we got one thumb up.
Oh,
I think that was Nick in the Daytime did that. We have all the kids are hanging out back there right now. It's like that 70s show in the basement.
Well, it's lunchtime.
It is lunchtime. Good point. All right, Brent, next pick.
We got plenty of fruit snacks over there.
Next pick, we're going to pick 116. Out of your Houston Christian whatevers, Jalix Hunt. I said that he sounded like a Pokemon, and Brent said he didn't get it. So sounds like a rock from the stalactite family that you would maybe find in a cave. Jalix.
Yeah.
A Jalix rock?
That's good.
Better for you?
Better.
Cool.
I kind of like the name.
Thoughts? Well, I mean, yeah, first of all, it gets a John.
Cool name.
Thoughts about getting an edge guy at pick 116 from a small school, bro?
Yeah, it's, again, taking a chance on it. I like it.
Okay, so Jalix Hunt, a little background real quick. We had him yesterday, I believe, or 2 days ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago.
But Jalix Hunt, 6'4", 34 and 3/8 inch arms. So that's going to be a Trent Bulky Blue Light special.
What's the length do on the edge? Like it
helps.
Like how much is it? I mean, obviously anywhere in the trenches, I think the length helps, right?
Yeah. 252 pounds, 10-inch hands. Big dude. Ran a 4.64. Fast dude. 37.5-inch vertical. Athletic dude. 19 in the bench press. Pretty strong dude. And 10.8 in the broad jump. Athletic dude.
Nice combo there. The long arms and the speed.
Yeah. The biggest thing with this guy, and I think a lot of small school guys can attest to this, is lacks the traits to be a great edge rusher, right? Needs a lot of polish. Long legs and lean lowers allow blockers to punch him off balance. Take that for how you want. Struggles to stand his ground at the point of attack due to lack of play strength. Got to develop a little more, but he can bend and dip off the edge, but needs to develop more pass rush moves.
Just an idea, just so everybody can put this in perspective when you're talking about a player like this.
And by the way, Brent, a former safety.
Wow.
Wow.
I was thinking, so think about like Yasir Abdullah, who the Jags took last year, I think in the 5th round, maybe it was fifth round, first pick of the 5th round. And so he's a lighter guy, and actually he's lighter than this guy. So this guy's 252. Yasir's 237 coming out of school. He's 6'1". I think that's an inch shorter than Jalix here. 32 and 3/8 inch arms, and this dude's got almost 35-inch arms. Now, Yasir is a little quicker, 4.47 compared to 4.62. But I guess what I'm saying here is I like the idea of the length and the size and a little bit more weight, and you don't give up that much in speed.
Yeah.
You know? So you got a nice little combination package. If, like you said, you can polish it up.
Yeah.
He's probably very raw from a Houston Christian standpoint.
No, without a doubt. But he has some physical attributes that you like, and once again, a development pick could be at 153. You're addressing the edge. I'm sorry, at 116. Yeah, I mean, I've seen worse picks out there, Brett. Pick 153 offensive tackle. I guess we're going all Texas today, huh? A lot of Texas guys.
Texas guys, yeah.
A lot of Texas guys. So we're going offensive line, offensive tackle. Pick 153. It's going to be Christian Jones, 6'5", 305, 34 and 34.5-inch arms, Trent Bulky Blade special, 10 and 5/8-inch hands. Somebody called Johnny Bench. This guy's got a catcher's mitt for a hand. And I assume he's got two hands, so he's got two catcher's mitts. Unless one is abnormally smaller, but I doubt that's going to be a thing. So yeah, big hands, ran a 5.04 in the 40. 20 reps in the bench press. Didn't jump though. What is he hiding?
Yeah. It's an offensive.
What are they not telling us, Brent?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Okay. This guy, right tackle prospect with athletic limitations.
Heavy-handed guy. All right, we got to move quick.
Okay. Sorry.
Ring the bell for DeCamarion Richardson.
DeCamarion Richardson. We're going to Mississippi State, cornerback, and then finishing up with Evan Anderson, defensive tackle. I don't know how fast we have to move. Evan Anderson,
we got like
defensive tackle,
6'2",
FAU.
32 and 3/8 inch arms and a 4.34 40, by the way, for Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
So gifted athlete at the corner position. I don't mind taking a flyer on him. Overall, I kind of like this draft.
Yeah, I like this draft as well. I think it addresses more of the needs. I didn't have any of these picks be like, what are you thinking right there, sir? So if I'm going to vote, which I am taking this one.
I'm taking this one too. So we're in agreement. Again, I think the most critical you can be of this is probably Mitchell at that first one. But
yeah,
if you love him, you love him.
It's a need.
You better be right, is the thing I say. So we'll see if he's right. Did we, before we get out of here, did we check? So Steve Boston's moving on, by the way, the quarterfinals. We'll tell everybody who's moving on tomorrow in the bracket. Maybe we make a bracket. That'd be pretty good.
Nice.
We need to do that. Well, not me or you, but we'll have like Marcel or somebody.
Yeah, just put one of the kids on it.
Jalix Hunt says Delphonic is he loves everybody's a good relative athletic score now, by the way. Like everybody's good on the RAS score. 973. Developmental project, but has athletic upside. I agree with you on that. But I see that all the time, that RAS, and I'm like, I think everybody has it. But to me, that makes sense that athletically so many people have a better score now, or there's so many that guys that have it. The athlete is bigger, faster, stronger than ever before. Like, we've got better athletes.
Yeah, for sure. What's his RIS score? Brent doesn't get that one. It's okay.
I do get it.
Come on, no, you don't.
Yeah, I don't know what the scale is.
Okay.
But Delphonic says, no, that's really good. Delphonic really loves the RAS score.
Well, I feel like it's out of 10, right? So if you're a 9.73, that's
well, like he gave perspective with Trayvon Walker, 9.99.
Okay. So this could be a Trent Baalke Blue Light special for sure.
So did we confirm or deny or whatever about was that really Pretty Ricky?
I'm sorry?
The Pretty Ricky stuff.
Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna confirm that, Brent.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way,
Pretty Ricky's at it again.
Shout out to Delphonic for the nice.
Yes, is that me in like 25 years?
That's Trent Baalke. Oh, you guys aren't
trying to morph our faces there.
No, hey, that's Richard Gere with Trent Baalke's face.
Oh, I thought it was.
Appreciate the artwork, man. You can't get up that ego, can you? All that Riz coming from Brent Martineau, everybody. It's not always about you, even though it's your network.
We'll see you tomorrow from Best Bet St. Augustine.